Hello, welcome to Jason Old Millennial. I'm here in my basement in the freezing state of Kansas right now, and I got my two friends here, Norin from NorinRad89 and Mike from Did You See That? How you guys doing?
Doing great, Jason. Thanks for having us.
We're just talking. It's pretty cold over where Norin is, and I mean snow. It's snowy over where Norin's at, and
Yeah.
so you understand what I'm going through. All snow everywhere. Oh, it's freezing cold outside. And Mike, I guess it's cold over where you're at as well, right?
Usually is in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, very few days of light and sunshine.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
because I was just talking to Adam from What the Gym this last Saturday, and he says it doesn't snow that heavy where he's at. It says he doesn't get a lot of heavy snow, but it rains a lot. That's what he said.
Yeah. Good old UK.
Yeah. So today we are coming together. We're about 2 weeks into the new year, I guess, and it's the awards season, time of year. We just had the Golden Globes. We're gonna have the Critics' Choice, I think, next week or so, a couple weeks, and SAG Awards and all this. But I want to give you one of the most important award shows, and that is the Old Millennial Awards, the third annual. Old Millennial Awards. Second time Norin and Mike has joined me. They joined me last year and we did it, and I thought it'd be fun to come together again and talk about movies we liked, movies we didn't like, and performances we liked and performances we didn't like of 2024 season. And so I'm trying to think of where to start on this. I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I've given my 10 best movies, 10 worst movies. I know Mike has done the same. Norin, I don't know if you've done quite that. You've talked about your favorite horror movies, I know.
I did horror, yeah. Like, it wouldn't be that much different, to be honest, because this past year, I didn't stray away from horror that much. I watched other films, but, I would say 85% of the movies I watched when I was looking at my letterbox are all horror movies or horror adjacent. So I didn't stray away. Like the furthest I got was Sonic 3, Transformers 1. I watched those ones.
Yeah, I saw you were watching Anora. I saw that.
Anora, yeah, that we might be talking about that one today. I have some opinions on that one.
Mike's seen it. I've seen it. We reviewed it on our channels as well. Yeah, I've seen 50 movies. I started doing Letterboxd just the other day. I started doing some Letterboxd stuff. I haven't done Letterboxd in a while.
Nice.
But now I'm trying to get back into it. But on my computer, I have it written down all the movies I've seen of 2024 and what I rated them and where I put them. So I saw exactly 50 movies, and that's counting, streaming movies on Netflix, stuff like that, and movies on theater. I'm guessing, Mike, you've seen probably twice as many movies as I've seen last year. I don't know if you count how many movies or.
Yeah, so with Letterboxd, because I love it so much, I make lists every year. So I'll put a list of 2024 watches. So by the end of the year, I know what I rated good, what I didn't rate, whatever. And last year I got 297 logged. That's 2024, 2023, other movies and stuff like that. So I watched
Nice.
And so far this year, I think I'm about 18 watches for the year. So I'm trying to get to 365 for the year. That's my goal.
Jeez Louise.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I hope I can get I'm trying to tell myself I'm gonna try to beat the 50 and try to get more than 50 this year. Maybe we'll see. I want to go to the theater more often this year is my goal. If the weather gets better, I might start going back to the theater.
Maybe a day keeps the doctor away, Jason. That's my philosophy.
How about you, Norin? Do you keep track of how many you see?
Yeah, I have my own letterbox and stuff. I keep all my watches and stuff. I usually just do like top 20 or top 10 lists, but then throughout the year, like you can scroll through on your diary and you can see like every day, like what month and when you watched and all that kind of stuff. So once in a while, I won't write something down, but usually it's if I watched it like a third or fourth time, like Alien Romulus. I didn't track that one, but I watched that one 4 times actually. So that might be a hint as
He's
to
like,
which one will be my. No, I'm just kidding.
I tell you, Norin, I watched a lot of top 10 worst best lists on YouTubers. I love watching those. That's like my favorite thing is when we get to the end of the year. I love watching people's opinions on what are the best, worst. And I've seen Alien Romulus in top 10 best, and I've seen Alien Romulus in top 10 worst lists. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of divisive on that movie, I guess.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. Yeah, we'll see. You'll see my opinions on it. Like I said, I have a lot to share and stuff, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about 2024 just a little bit. And I'll go first and I'll take it to you guys. Just talk about what you thought about the year in total, I guess. Because for me, I mean, 2024, I saw 50 movies and I liked 15 of them. Like I looked at my list and I'd give 15 of them a positive review out of 50. So that's not a particularly great percentage, I wouldn't think. I don't know what normal people are like. I'm usually pretty negative about movies. It's like I feel like I have a pretty high bar. Like okay, I go into a movie thinking, okay, show me something different or something original, or show me something that I don't get very often. And so I come out of most movies going, I didn't care for it, or I don't know if I'm getting older and I just and the way the world is, if a movie's very long, I'm like, this movie's too long. Like I struggle with that. In slow movies, like I want like a little faster paced movies maybe nowadays. But anyways, yeah. So 15 out of 50. I don't know what that's less than 50%. I can tell you that. It's
Oh
just
yeah, that's like 20 something, 28%. Yeah.
yeah. And to be honest, that's the way it has been. I've been looking through movies in the past because
Mhm.
I'm gonna one of the things I'm wanting to do is I've been going through each year, starting with like this year and going, and I'm already to like 1994, I think at the moment, and I've looked at all the movies and I've put up together like my top five favorite movies, and I'll probably do a series on that, my top favorite
Nice.
five movies per year all the way to 94 so far. But goes back as far as I can. But the way I've looked at it is to me, in my opinion, like 2024 was still a pretty bad year when it comes to movies. But I feel like it's been bad since 2020. 2020 was an absolutely horrible year. Like I couldn't put up a top five. There's not five good movies that probably came out in 2020. 2021 also, it was a tough year. There was not a lot of good movies coming out that year. And of course, also we know that's because COVID just ruined everything. And
Yeah.
I really like when I look back, I think 2020 to today, it's just been kind of terrible. And so much bad stuff has happened politically. A lot of political stuff has happened in the world in the last, I mean, COVID, and we've got, all this other stuff, all this other crap that's happened in the world. And it's just ruined movies in a sense. Because when I looked at 2019, I can get you 10 great movies every year from 2019 to 94, let's say. Every year I'm like, holy cow, these are great movies, and some of these are my favorite movies of all time. Like, I don't know, like I would say though, my five favorite movies are still really good this year and last year, and I can still come up with maybe five good movies, but outside my top five, everything else is like, yeah, this is okay. Like I would say my top seven were like really solid movies this year. Then 8 through 15 were like, these are okay movies. They're not great, but they're fine.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, this is not very good. For me, that's the way it's been for like the last 5 years. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's like maybe I can find five really good movies, and that's about it. It's kind of sad, I think. And I don't know, something happened in 2020. It just, I said COVID, everything got delayed. Also, writer strike. I feel like there's been so many writer strikes, actor strikes. I feel like that's done really bad service to everything. It's delayed movies, I guess, and so many movies are like just it's. I see. Oh, Captain America is supposed to come out like last year or something like that, and it gets delayed. Or Craven's supposed to come out like 2 years ago or something like that, and it finally. that happens all the time now, where movies take forever to come out. You get it's coming out this year, and then no, it comes out like a couple years later, and has a bunch of rewrites, bunch of reshoots. And it's like, oh, I have a bad feeling about these movies. Anyways, but yeah, that's what I feel like the last like 5 years. So this year isn't any worse than the last probably 5 years necessarily, but it's still it's a bad trend right now. I think movies right now. And I think the worst thing right now is the superhero movies have just been so bad lately. Except there was one, and we might talk about it because I know I'll talk about it. There's one really good superhero movie I think that came out this year, and that saved Marvel this year because Marvel's been having such bad movies after bad movies. And I was a huge Marvel fan all the way, from 2008 to 2019 when Endgame came out. It was incredible. Some of my favorite movies of all time. If you look at my top 100 favorite movies list I've been doing on my channel, I have tons of MCU movies on there. I love them. The only good movie since has been No Way Home, I think, probably, and Deadpool and Wolverine, of course. So we'll talk about that, I guess. But anyways, so Marvel's been hurting. DC's been hurting, I think, pretty badly. If you want to call it Joker 2, I guess a DC movie, it did pretty bad. And they're hoping to God Superman's going to be good because DC needs a good movie. Marvel at least had a really good movie this year, so hopefully they have like 3 movies coming out this year, I think. Fantastic Four, Captain America, and Thunderbolt. So hopefully they can keep the momentum going and start something because I love good superhero movies and those are usually the billion-dollar movies, and now they've just been doing terrible. And I think DC and Marvel needs to get some more good movies, in my opinion, and help the box office in the movie theaters and all that. Anyway, so I think that's just been a downward turn the last 5 years or so. Disney in total, I think, has been on a downward spiral the last 5 years, though this year they did good. Inside Out 2 made $1 billion some dollars. Like I said, Deadpool and Wolverine made like $1 billion. Mufasa actually did pretty well, even though I thought that was just a really bad movie. But Moana 2 made a lot of money. I haven't seen that movie, but that made a lot of money. So I guess Disney did pretty good this year, but I don't know, I'm still kind of negative on Disney and that Disney's always been like the biggest, company. They always rule the box office. Like if you look at just like 2020, something like that, I saw this list, like we used to have, 3-4 movies that would be $1 billion movies or maybe even more. And today it feels like it's hard to get one movie to $1 billion. It feels like in today, I don't know. I guess every year we get at least $1 billion movie, maybe like Inside Out 2 this year, I know. But yeah, just you look at it, it's like, man, just we're not getting the big movies that we used to, I feel like, to me. I don't know. That's my opinion on 2024, I guess. And but I'll give it to you, Norin. Do you have any feelings on
Oh, so for 2024, I think when it first started off, I would say like the first 3 months was kind of slow. I was looking at my like diary from Letterboxd, and like I would say like the first 3 months there was nothing really fantastic, and then it kind of picked up. And in terms of like the last few years, I would say for horror movies it's been pretty strong. Comic book movies, it's been on the down low. But I think for horror or even science fiction movies and horror movies are doing really well right now. So like we have more Predator movies coming out, we have more Alien movies coming out, we have another Alien TV show coming out. So I feel like there's different genres that kind of go through these peaks. It's like an ebb and flow kind of thing. But I think comic book movies, it's just like it's just so cookie cutter. Like a lot of them just became wash, rinse, repeat. The Madam Web thing didn't land too well. Craven was like, it's fun if you're sitting with the right crowd kind of people, kind of thing, but it wasn't the greatest thing. And then Blade, we've been hearing so much about Blade and they just keep backing it up and backing it up and backing it up. So I completely agree with you on Marvel and Disney, but in terms of like horror movies, I feel like this was probably the second best year, I think, in the last 5 years. The only other year I could think of was 2022, and I think it was when we had X Pearl in the same year. We had Hellraiser that year, and we also had Fresh came out that year. So it was a big one. That was a big year. And I would say in terms of horror films, this was probably my second favorite year. The very end few months, they came out swinging hard. And I think now more independent movies and independent production companies are blowing up, like A24, Neon, IFC and like all those ones, I think are turning out more interesting movies than some of these bigger companies like Paramount or Disney or New Line and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. When we get to the horror category, horror was this is maybe the best year I've seen in horror actually for a long time.
Yeah, I'm interested. I have a guess for which one yours is going to be for your favorite horror thriller. I think I know which one it's going to be.
Yeah, so I don't really watch horror, but yeah, horror's done very well. So you're probably happier than me because I don't watch horror. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. For science fiction horror, I think they're doing really good. I wish we had more like kung fu action films. We don't really get a lot of good kung fu action films anymore. Comedy is very lacking. That's another really good subgenre that doesn't get a lot of love anymore. And I think it's just because of the climate we're in. People really aren't in, like, there's not a lot of, there's comedy out there, but not a lot of people are doing it and they're not, accepting of it. So.
Oh, I agree. I mean, we haven't got these great Will Ferrell or Jim Carrey comedies of the 90s, 2000s that I used to grow up on. Like, so funny. And I haven't seen a great comedy in a while. Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think, Mike? Do you have any opinions on 2024 and any movie?
Yeah, I think kind of like overall it's been a mixed bag really, and I think kind of to echo a bit points what you guys were saying, like especially Norin, sorry, up here with horror. I'll probably mistake that a few times throughout the stream. Yeah, I think in the last 20, like, so for example, Jason, what you said from 2020 to like current, I think in that time we've seen a lot more horror really take up the space in the box office simply because they're kind of the cheapest movies to make.
Yeah.
But also it gives like those directors and writers more creative freedom to use practical effects like a Terrifier or like The Substance, for just to name a couple of big mainstream ones that blow up, right? Whereas Disney in the last few years have had to really evaluate their model. They're putting out like Strange World and they put out Wish and they put out some originals, but because they weren't really well received, they've had to go back to IPs like Inside Out 2, which did really well.
Yeah.
Or like Zootopia 2 coming out, or Zootropolis, I can't remember the bloody name. It's Zootopia, I think. Right. Or like Toy Story and Frozen and
Toy Story 5 they're working on.
Yeah, but then I think the problem is, or at least with horror, what I've gathered, and I'll try to make this a bit quicker, is because they've got that creative freedom, they're becoming more as like passion projects, and we're seeing a lot of passion, love, and care put into those movies. Whereas with Disney, we're seeing a lot of first time. I think we've had an increase of first time writers and first time directors in Disney movies. Like, for example, Madam Web and Craven. I'm sure may get mentioned in the stream. But those movies had 3 writers to write those movies.
Oh yeah,
which is insane. That it took 3 people to write Madam Web when it takes 1 mastermind to write a horror movie. But again, that's all because of the writer's strike, as you said, with COVID, with budgets, constraints. And it's great to give people opportunities in Hollywood and maybe, have a burst out first time director or writer. But when you have a big name like Disney, you need to have like big power in a way, like name behind them who's reliable, who's trustworthy, who's proven box office successes before. Whereas with Neon and A24, as Norin said, those guys are thriving on first time directors and writers and original ideas and having something different. And it kind of goes the same for Marvel. I agree with both of you guys. Marvel's been on a real slump. They scaled it back because they were having losses. Deadpool Wolverine's proved a hit. But now next year, they're throwing 3 movies. Like all 3 of them going to be box office hits. I probably will say no, quite frankly. I think they will do okay, but they're not going to be like a Deadpool Wolverine, like $1 billion. Like Captain America, I can't see doing that.
No.
Thunderbolts, I can't see doing that either. That's Fantastic Four, maybe, because it's been years since we've had a Fantastic Four movie, and at least, people know of who Fantastic Four are at this point. So yeah, I think it's been an interesting year in terms of every year from 2020. When we do top 10 lists, we might have a top 10, but maybe out of those movies, we might have like a top 3 or 5, where we go back to those movies every year and be like, wow, like a Top Gun Maverick, Spider-Man No Way Home. We'll watch those on repeat and check them out again. Or for me, my personal favorite horror movie in the last 5 years is Barbarian. I've seen that movie 3 times, and I could watch that time and time again. It's just something about it. So yeah, I think every year we're getting more mixed years, and I think that's going to continue this year because of the change in Hollywood landscape, really.
I'm glad Rashad G's not here.
We all know he loves that movie.
That triggers him bad, but
he loves it. He loves the hairy nipple.
Care about that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and I was just thinking, Hollywood's on fire right now. Like, I don't know if that's affecting anything.
Literally in LA.
Yeah, LA's on fire, and
yeah, all those people. It's sad. Yeah, hopefully, all the best wishes to all those people out there. I wouldn't want to go through any of that stuff. It's terrible.
It's taking out a lot of homes there, so I don't know if that's affecting anything. I don't know. Maybe it's affecting nothing, but
I was thinking the other day. I don't know about you guys. Not to interrupt you, Jason. I was thinking the other day with all these celebrities that's had the houses burned down. Will we see them celebrities in more movies to compensate the losses and rebuild their homes and stuff like that? Which I hope everyone's safe. Not celebrities, or regardless, hope everyone's safe. But celebrity-wise, I'm wondering if they're going to do more projects because they need the money.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Okay. Yeah, curious how this is going to affect everything. Yeah. By the way, Mike, got your hat here. Did you see that?
Nice, man. Nice. I need a cap myself, so I might get one.
Go to Mike's Did You See That channel, buy some merch.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the plug.
All right, let's start off the Old Millennial Awards with most disappointing movie of the year. This is the movie that you were hyped up for. You thought, oh, this is gonna be great, and then you saw it and you're like, oh, this is terrible. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. I guess we'll start with you, Norin, since you're right to my left here, and go clockwise. What was your most disappointing movie?
Yeah, this one kind of sucks because I kind of went new going into it. I knew it was going to be this way, but I had hopes because Rennie Harlin directed it, and I like Rennie Harlin. He did Cliffhanger. If people aren't familiar with him, he did Cliffhanger. He did Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 4. He's done a lot of cool stuff. But Strangers Chapter 1 was definitely the most disappointing because it's kind of like the Psycho remake, which they kind of did a rehash of The Strangers, the very first movie, and that movie is such a good movie. Like it's like a thriller. It's got this great tension. Not a lot really happens, you know what I mean? But it's a horrifying movie. Like I love that movie. And then they did Strangers Pray at Night, which is probably just as good, more slasher style, but it has a cool killer soundtrack and it's great. So they announced Strangers Chapter 1 plus 2 more sequels before this one even hits theaters. And I'm like, damn, it's the same director for all 3. So this is Rennie Harlin's pure vision throughout all 3, you know what I mean, of whatever's going to happen. But yeah, I'm holding out hopes for Chapter 2. Maybe, but we might see Strangers Chapter 2 on the most disappointing list next year. Who knows? But yeah, as it stands right now, I would say Strangers Chapter 1 is my most disappointing movie, even though I kind of 60% knew going into it was going to be that bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I took my kids too. My daughters were with me. My wife was with me, and none of them had fun.
Yeah, this is Chapter 1, so I think it's supposed to be the first in a trilogy. So, not a good start. I've seen that movie on a lot of top 10 worst lists. Almost every top 10 worst. I feel like I've seen that movie. So it must be. All right, Mike, what's your most disappointing movie?
Yeah, so looking for my list on Letterboxd. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I was hyped for this movie or anything like that, but the most disappointing for a different reason. So, this was a Netflix movie, and it was The Platform 2. So, have you guys seen The Platform?
I've seen the first one, yeah. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Platform, I've never heard of that.
I don't want to say too much, Jason, in case you watched it. It more goes in kind of psychological thriller horror. I don't know if you'd not like it necessarily, I'll be honest, because it is some brutal moments, but But the platform too, just simply because the first movie was unique, it was original, it was something a little bit different I've never seen before. I really liked the first movie. The second one had potential. They go kind of more prequel, sequel kind of direction, but there's no really like great characters, or like the first one has good characters. You root for them. You're interested in the journey and trying to get up the levels, etc. And this one, it kind of undoes all of that. And I was just like, why did they make a sequel to this when you delivered that result? So yeah, for me, the platform too.
Okay, interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Makes me want to watch it though. It kind of makes me want to watch it now.
I'd be curious, Norin, what you think on that one. I'll be honest.
I'll have to watch it for sure.
I've got some surprises on my list. I'll say that.
Yeah. As soon as this is over, I'm going to Google platform. Like, what the heck is platform? All right, my most disappointing movie was, and it was a battle. There's a couple of movies that I was fighting for the number one spot, but I had to go with Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2, man, what sequel to a great movie. And I love the first Gladiator movie. I saw it back in 2000. I was like in high school. I thought that movie was great. Love that movie. I now have a Blu-ray that Mike bought me. It's on my shelf. And we did a watch along too. And I think Mike liked it as well. Right. But it's been almost 25 years or whatever to make a sequel. It was just way too long. And this movie, it was such a bore to get through. It was so boring. Oh my gosh. It had none of the excitement of the first movie. Story-wise, acting-wise, action-wise, it was nowhere as good. The special effects were so horrible. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. The special effects of the first Gladiator were good for the time. I still watch that and don't have any problems. I watched this one, and there's a scene, and you guys have seen it maybe, where the very first like Gladiator scene, they have to fight these CGI monkeys, and it is literally the worst thing I've seen all year. Probably it's so bad. These monkey things, they don't even look like monkeys. I don't know what they are. It was like some mutant hybrid monkey thing. And I was like, what is going on here? Why are they fighting these monkeys hand to hand? Like it was so bad. And there was like a rhinoceros scene and sharks. I think they have sharks in the water in one scene. And it's like, this is all just really bad CGI. Like, what are they doing? And it's Ridley Scott doing the sequel. So, and he can make a good movie. I don't know if he's getting too old now or what, but it's like, and everything, the acting. So, I mean, like you watch that first Gladiator, Russell Crowe, he won Best Actor. He was so good in that role. And Paul Mescal, never seen this guy before. He's just, to me, is not as good as Russell Crowe. He could not carry that movie like Russell Crowe could, in my opinion. And Russell Crowe just had a good presence about him. He had a good look. Paul Mescal, to me, he didn't look big enough for the role. He was in great shape. I mean, I won't tell you that, but I don't know. He didn't feel like, oh yeah, this guy is going to be this great gladiator. Like I never felt that, like in that movie. And Joaquin Phoenix was so good as the villain. This movie, even Denzel Washington, I didn't think was that good. And I think Denzel Washington's one of the best actors working today. I didn't think it was a good Denzel Washington performance. And the villains I thought were not that great compared to, I know, if I compare everybody to the first movie, it's like everybody was way better in that first movie than this one. And it's just so long. This movie was so long. I mean, the first movie's long too, but it's exciting. This movie, I was so bored at the end. I was like, oh my God, I remember because, oh gosh, I'm getting mad. But what's his name? Pedro Pascal, whatever. There's the whole thing is Paul Mescal's character is trying to get revenge against this guy, and so you're like, okay, there's gonna be a big fight scene where they're gonna fight one-on-one, and we get it. They're in the arena and they're doing a one-on-one battle. And you're like, all right, this is like the big climatic scene. And I looked at my watch. I was like, I looked at the time. And I was like, there's still an hour left in this movie. I can't believe it. This should be the end of the movie, and there's still an hour left. That's so stupid. And what do we get? We get him fighting Denzel Washington, who's in his 60s. It's like, who gives a crap, Anyways, I thought it was so bad. It was one of the worst. And I don't know. And maybe just I thought the trailer looked good, and that's why I put it in my most disappointing. because I love this movie. I thought the trailer looked good. This movie did not deliver. So that's my rant on Gladiator 2. The other movie that was competing for me was Joker 2. And Joker 2 didn't get in there just because I wasn't that hyped up for it, because I'm not, everybody loves the first Joker movie. I'm not as big of a fan of Joker movie. It has some good parts to it. Joaquin Phoenix, great performance, whatever. Joker 2, man, what a bomb. I mean, I think just across the board, like, if you were to, poll everybody that saw that movie, that'd probably be the most disappointing movie of the year, because, man, that movie bombed big time compared to the first movie. Joker was $1 billion movie. It was like one of the biggest box office rates of all time, and was nominated for Best Picture, won Best Actor. So Joker 2 is not going to get any awards, no awards, and it bombed at the box office. What a terrible sequel, in my opinion. I know Norin's a bigger fan of the Joker 2 than I am.
I got some stuff that might pop up on our list too.
But so yeah, Joker 2, Gladiator 2, Joker 2. Oh my gosh, what a disappointment, in my opinion. All right, we'll get to next one is most overrated movie. This is a movie that everybody seems to love, and it's doing well, and you're like, this movie's terrible. Why does everybody love this movie? To me, that's what overrated movie is. So, Norin, do you have the overrated movie of the year?
It's going to be Dune Part 2. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not Dune Part 2. No, I have on here, because in my community, like a lot of people that I talk to, even my wife likes this movie, and it's Long Legs. Like, I just didn't have the same experience that a lot of people had, and maybe it's because I'm such a huge fan of Zodiac. I freaking love Zodiac. I love Seven. Seven is one of the best crime thrillers of all time. Silence of the Lambs, I don't even like that as much, but I still watch that movie, and I'm like, I just see all those elements of those films, and they did it a lot better than Long Legs. And I feel like there's some times where, like, you can tell while watching the movie, like, I feel like Osgood Perkins, who's the director of this movie, that he just told Nicolas Cage to just do like some Nicolas Cage shit. Like, he was just like, do some Nicolas Cage stuff, and like, just do it.
Like,
and like, scream and sing on this, you know what I mean? Just do whatever you want. And like, that's what I feel like he told them to do. So I just, I have to watch it a second time now that I know where it's going to go. I have a feeling of like, I know the third act, maybe I'll enjoy it, or maybe I'll see something else in it. But I wanted to give it enough time, just not rewatch it right away. But pretty soon I'm going to give it a second watch just to see how it sits. But I would say for me, that's the most overrated, because most of the people I talk to love this film. Mike's not. Hey, Mike's like, he agrees with me. Mike's like,
I do. Like, so Long Legs isn't mine, and not to take too much time here, but I agree with you, Norin. So I think the whole concept, it could have been good, but the explanation of what's doing this possession for me is so stupid. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not seen it. But I agree, Norin. Yeah, that movie's bad.
Yeah, it's good looking. Like, it has some good performances, and it's a great looking film. But like, kind of like Mike said, like at the end of it, I had more questions, and I just felt like there's other movies that executed very similar plots and very similar themes a lot better. And I was like, I'd rather just watch those films. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Long Legs. I didn't know Nicolas Cage was in it. That's interesting. I just know it was really well reviewed. I do remember a lot of people really liked that movie, so that's a good choice for you then. It did. I've seen it in, like, I don't know if I've seen a top 10 list, but at least honorable mentions, if not top 10 type movie. I forgot that movie came out, but yeah, I do remember liking the movie.
Yeah, it's a big movie for Osgood Perkins, and he's getting another movie this year too. He's getting Monkey, which is based off of Stephen King's Monkey Shines, so that's coming out this year.
That's right. Yeah, two Long Legs. I always thought, like, what the heck is that? Just based on that, I'm thinking like spiders. I'm like, Long Legs, spiders? I don't know, but I'm probably way off. I'm like, what is? I know it's a horror movie, so I'm like, it reminds me of that horror. There was a horror movie I think came out last year that everybody was talking about, and I think you hated, and like nothing happened in the movie. I think it was like they're in a house or something, and there's like
Skinamarink. Yeah, Skinamarink.
I think that was the movie you talked about last year. That was like, I don't know. Yeah, that was a weird one too. Gosh, I don't know. You're gonna probably disagree with me, but everybody's gonna disagree with me on this. But for me, the most overrated movie has to be Dune 2. Dune 2, one of the most boring, confusing movies I've ever tried to get through. I have no idea what happened in that movie. I like I said in my review, it was my third worst movie of the year, I think.
Mhm.
With Joker 2 was number 2 and Gladiator was number 4. Just to tell you, like those to me were the worst movies of the year. And for me, it was like I was like 10 minutes in the movie, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on in this movie. I have no idea who these characters are. And I saw Dune 1. I saw Dune 1, and I'm still like, I don't know what's going on. There's Batista, and there's these bald, pale guys, or like the bad guys. I don't know what's going on, who they are, what they're doing. And then what's his name? Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya are hanging out with these nomads, and I'm not sure what's going on there. And I think like her mom's there, but then her mom all of a sudden is like a witch or something and has like tattoos. I don't know what's going on there. There's a scene where they go into this like there's like this pool and there's like this short black lady and she gives him a drink and then he like has like these dreams or something. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And the whole movie, I was just like, and then like Christopher Walken and Florence Pugh show up, and I'm like, they're in this movie? Like, who are they? Have they been in the other movie? Did I miss them? And they all of a sudden are major characters. And I was like, who are these people? And at the end, I'm like, oh, are they? I guess they're royalty because he's going to marry her, like she's a princess. I'm like, okay, well, I don't understand what that's about. And Austin Butler shows up, and I'm like, who's this guy? I don't know. This is me. I'm just giving my the whole movie. I'm like,
He was in Bike Riders.
I'm like, I don't know who these people are, or what their motivations are, or what the point of the movie is, or the plot of the movie. I just didn't know what was going on, and it was so long. Oh my gosh, it was so long, and I was so bored. And people love this movie. This is on everybody's top 10 list. This is one of the beloved movies of the year. It's going to get nominated for Best Picture. It made actually pretty good money at the box office, which I didn't even know that, but I saw that it made good money at the box office. And I don't know that's going to win any Oscars because Dune 1 already happened and it got more Oscars and stuff. But yeah, I don't get Dune 2 at all. That's just me. And I like sci-fi and I like fantasy. So I don't know why this movie, the Dune and Dune 2 just don't work for me. I don't know what it is. I just don't get it. And that's might be a controversial statement. That's how I feel. I just don't get it. And there's a couple of movies that were really fighting for this position, but I had to give the Dune 2 all the love for it. And these are all probably controversial statements, but I didn't care for Wicked. I thought Wicked was very overrated. I was like, the music's okay. I don't care about the characters, the performances, and I don't know. And people love Wicked. It's like the greatest musical of all time, you know. And the other movie I wanted to mention is Anora. Anora's getting all this praise and Oscar hype. Maybe win Best Picture, whatever. I didn't get that movie. It was in my top 10 worst list as well. Like, I don't know. For me, I thought it was just a horrible human being who was a gold digger trying to get money out of this rich guy and didn't really love him. And she just yelled and cursed everybody out. And I'm like, I hated this character. And the ending didn't make any sense. And I don't get the hype for Nora either. So I have to mention those two movies, but Dune 2 is my official on that one. My sister's here. I think you don't like romance. What? I don't like romance. I don't know about that. Was there romance in Dune 2? I didn't remember that.
Oh, like with Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet.
They never.
That's a big romance story.
And Zendaya, I don't want to spoil it, but I think she commits suicide at the end. I don't know. I'm spoiling it, but I didn't get what happened there. Zendaya at the end, I was like, what is going on? There's these big worms. I don't know. Yeah, in fact, I was watching this movie and I messaged Mike and I don't know why I thought this, but I was like, because Timothy Chalamet was in A Complete Unknown playing Bob Dylan. I think is that what or is it Willy Wonka? I can't remember what I messaged you. I said something like
Wonka, I think at the time.
I think I said, man, Bob Dylan is hitting on Spider-Man's girlfriend. That's what I said. Like, I don't know why I said that, but I just thought it was funny. Because I looked at Zendaya, oh, it's MJ and all right. We'll get through the bad movies. Now we'll get to some good movies here. What is your most underrated movie of the year, Norin?
Oh, most underrated. This one's going to be fun. This is going to be a fun discussion, Ray. This is my most underrated movie of the year right here. I knew it was going to be funny because I knew this was going to be on somebody's list. I knew this was going to either be on Mike's or Jason's list. I like this movie. I don't like it as much as the first film. I'll tell you that right now. But Joker Folie à Deux, it kind of has that Dark Knight Rises syndrome thing. So Dark Knight happened, and once that happened, everybody crowned it like the greatest comic book movie of all time. So for Christopher Nolan, even as great as a director as he is, it's impossible to follow up something like that. It's totally impossible. So when Joker came out, no one even wanted that first movie, even knew it was going to be that good. People were doubting Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips delivered a banger. Like Jason said, $1 billion R-rated film. Joaquin Phoenix wins an award. And when this one got announced and they got announced as a musical, everybody was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? Like, what are we going to do here? So this one, like, I like it because I like the music in here. I think it's actually pretty good. I bought the vinyl, so I'm not like a poser or anything. I bought the vinyl too. Yeah. So, and it's just, for me, I didn't expect it to be anything like any of the other DC stuff. I didn't expect it to connect to Batman directly. I just wanted it to be another kind of story in that universe. And I like the fact that it's kind of centered around who he views himself as the person, because everyone's telling him, you know, you're the Joker, or you're the Crown Prince of Gotham, or you're this, or you're that, you're a comedian. And he's like, well, who am I? Like, who do I think I am? And that's kind of the struggle with the character throughout the film. And like, that's why I understand people who said they didn't want to take that journey with the character. I totally understand that argument, because if you don't want to take that character journey with Joaquin, you're not going to enjoy this movie. But that's how I viewed it, and that's why I liked it and stuff. And I think it's the most underrated because, yeah, clearly, like I said, everybody hated this movie. It bombed hardcore, and this is probably, like, I would give this like a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's not perfect for me, but I would give this like a 7.
Wow. I'm glad I went on that rant on Joker too, and then you got to talk about it. I mean,
we get both sides of the story. That's what's cool. That's the best thing about doing the lists and the awards, and everybody has their own opinions, their own thoughts. Everybody takes away different things from different movies, you know, when they watch them, you know.
Yeah, I guess I was expecting like Joker and Harley Quinn to like team up and break out of prison or something. I don't know. I guess that's what I was expecting out of it. Not the ending. The ending was not what I expected out of that movie. And I won't say what it is, but if you know what happens at the end. I don't think there's going to be more Joker movies. I don't know what's going to happen, but anyways.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know what they're going to do anymore. I guess that's the end of that. All right, Mike, what do you think? Underrated movie for you?
Yeah, so very quickly, I don't mind Joker Folie à Deux, by the way. Okay. I'm kind of like in the middle on that one. I think there's some great elements, and I think there isn't some elements, but it's not on my list or anything. But I do want to just add that I don't hate that movie personally. My most overrated movie, because I didn't get a chance to say it before, I'll try and make it quick before I answer the underrated one. For me, overrated, Nora.
Oh, you didn't do overrated? I'm sorry. I thought you did Long Day.
You're good. No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, Nora.
Oh, good, Nora.
Mikey Madison, absolutely terrific performance. I can't doubt that what she was given, like how she ran with it, and she was asked a lot too, especially like a lot of body scenes. Let's just say that to keep it PG. You know?
That opening scene was something else. I tell you what.
Right. But I just think like she gave it a lot, and she gave it all in that movie. So I've got to commend her performance. Cinematography is really well done. But yeah, I couldn't fully connect with the character, the supporting ones. The nicest character in the entire movie, Yuri, the bodyguard, who's like the only one who kind of seems to look after her welfare as such
Yeah.
in that movie. She treats him like dirt. And that ending scene, I'm not going to mention it for spoilers, but that ending scene for me, a bit like you, Jason, I was like, what? Who's made this decision right here? Like with how she's threatened throughout the entire movie and the age
Yeah, it's like,
differences, I was like, what the hell is this? If he just dropped her off, fair enough. I understand.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
End
yeah.
the movie there. But yeah, it did not hit with me. Anyway, so that's my overrated one. But again, I want to just commend Mikey Madison. Really great performance. Underrated.
Yeah.
For me, it's not so much underrated, but this is more of an under the radar movie. It is a horror. It was on Hulu, and that is Mr. Crockett.
Okay.
I feel like this is the one that's going to go under the radar. I know I saw it. I know Norin, I believe, did see it. I think
I know Norin saw it.
Yeah, it was on my honorable mentions for best of the year. It was number 12 or 13.
Right. And I just think like it's a one where, again, it's a lower budget, but it has a bit of a retro feel that, a lot of people can relate to, and like the video rental days, DVD rental days, that kind of stuff, blockbuster. It was a little bit more unique than what we see nowadays, so it's a little bit different. Elvis Nolasco, the main guy, Mr. Crockett, does a really great performance for an actor that no one's really heard of before. And it's just one that unfortunately was straight to Hulu, so unless you have that streaming service or through word of mouth or horror community, no one's going to know of that movie because it's not mainstream.
No.
And for me, there's definitely a backstory to Mr. Crocker that made me feel for him as well. That's my underrated, under the radar movie.
Yeah, interesting pick. Yeah, I've seen the poster or whatever, I don't know what you want to call it. This guy right with the bow tie, and he looks like a nice guy. That's all.
Right. Right.
I know nothing about that movie except for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to get opinions on Norin, or do you want to save that for later?
I couldn't tell if I was still there because it started buffering, but if I think I'm here now.
You're kind of not moving.
Can't tell. I can't tell if it's working. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was on my honorable mentions. I liked it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, everybody loves that movie, and I think me and Mike, I felt like are the only ones that are like on the same page.
You see me?
Yeah, it's buffering a little bit and it's freezing, but you're pretty much good.
Yeah, I can't tell. But you can hear us and everything, Norin?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us? Jason, did you say your underrated movie?
My underrated movie of the year is Trap by M. Night Shyamalan. His movie came out this year with Josh Hartnett. And yeah, this is a movie that I feel like didn't get very good reviews and wasn't talked up that much. And so I had no expectations when I saw this movie. And M. Night Shyamalan, we all know, is just kind of not looked really positively about by most people because of The Happening and Avatar and the New Earth, or whatever. What's the something Earth? He's made some pretty bad movies. And we talked about Knock at the Cabin. Knock at the Cabin wasn't a favorite movie of mine, but it had some good moments. So it seemed like he's doing a little bit better lately. I haven't seen Old. I don't know much about Old, but Trap was way better than I ever expected. I was just like, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed that movie, because I went into it thinking, this is probably not going to be very good. It's M. Night Shyamalan. No one's giving it good reviews. And I was like on the edge of my seat the whole film. And I was just like, what's going to happen next? Like kind of that feeling. And I thought it was an interesting story I've never seen before. The whole idea of the serial killer is like your main character, and you're like, you don't want him to succeed because he's a serial killer, but at the same time, you're like watching in anticipation, like, oh, how's he going to get out of this situation? So I thought it was a very interesting overall kind of story idea and premise. Let's see.
I think it kicked me out because the snowstorm is going pretty crazy over here.
Makes sense. But yeah, I thought Trap was, I don't know, I thought it was an excellent movie. It was one of my favorite movies of the year, and I don't think enough people like that movie, I guess. But yeah, that's my movie of the year. All right, next we're going with best comedy of the year, and again, was there many comedies? I don't know.
Nah.
I've got
one, but there wasn't really many comedies at all.
No.
Yeah, not that many. Like I said, I have a few. Like I said, they were really kind of just comedy, like little adjacent movies, but main one, there's only one really big comedy.
All right, Norin, what was your favorite comedy?
I had kind of two that were kind of battling for it, and it was Deadpool and Wolverine and Sonic 3. And because I had a lot of fun with Sonic 3, I thought Jim Carrey was some of the funniest moments I'd ever seen him do.
Yeah.
But I think out of a whole, comedy wise and the most jokes landing, I think Deadpool and Wolverine hit a lot, and there's a lot of good ones. Like I thought the nice pool joke was funny. I thought that was really funny. Just the banter between him and Hugh Jackman and stuff like that, and they had a really good kind of buddy cop nature to them and stuff. So yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine really did, and like you said, it saved Marvel this year because it was really funny and they hit a lot of notes, but it was also a little emotional too. And the Thor joke was funny too. Why
is Thor crying?
Why is Thor crying?
Funny you put Deadpool and Wolverine there because, yeah, you can count it as a comedy. It's an action movie. Yeah, it's kind of so it does fit in there with the comedy, funny enough, even though it's a superhero movie or whatever. It definitely was one of the most laughs. I agree. I laughed probably a lot in that movie. What about you, Mike? Do you have a favorite comedy?
Yeah, so again, it's quite tough because looking through the list, I'm like, well, what actually is a comedy as such? Like I said, like Deadpool Wolverine's a lot of comedy to it, but it's a superhero movie, or I don't know, it's weird. So I try to go more straight, defining as comedy as such. So my pick is Thelma.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, June Squibb, pretty cool to see a 92, 93-year-old woman headline a movie, which is rare nowadays. And yeah, she gets her money. The kind of general synopsis is she goes after this person who's pretending to be her grandson and scams her out of £10,000. So she goes on a quest with Richard Roundtree, who's in a retirement home at this point, and they go on a quest to try get this hacker and get her money back. And there's some really great comedy moments, some great laughs. There's plenty of times I had some really good chuckles in this one, and I just think it was a little bit different as well, and more focused on comedy. Yeah, I can't really say too much without giving spoilers, and I don't want to ruin the jokes if you guys check this movie out. So I'm gonna go Thelma.
Yeah, I need to watch that because I remember you giving a really good review, and I don't know if anybody else has talked about it. You might be the only person I've heard talk about that movie, because it's under the radar movie, I guess. I don't know if it was in the movie theaters or if it was streaming.
It got a cinema release, but it was very limited. Even in America, you guys got maybe
really?
a week and a half, and it was gone.
Yeah, it's just one of those under the radar movies that's not talked about really. But yeah, based on your review, I definitely need to check that out then.
It's entertaining, and it's not I think it's maybe an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes max as well. So it's not a long movie.
That's good.
For me, best comedy, I guess, and this I base it on Like, yeah, movie I probably laughed most at, and that was Beetlejuice for me.
Sweet.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting this is could be an underrated movie. I think I don't know because it was people talked a lot about it. It was a big movie release, and people were pretty hyped up about it because it's a sequel to a beloved Beetlejuice. Do you have a Beetlejuice?
Yeah, I got it from the movie theater.
Um, and like the first movie is iconic. Tim Burton movie. And the character is great. I love the Beetlejuice character. It's just one of the great characters. Mark Keaton is just hilarious in that role of him as Beetlejuice. And I'm not like the biggest Beetlejuice fan. I think it's okay. I find Tim Burton to be kind of weird, And I wasn't expecting this movie to be anything, but I was like, well, it's a big release, so I'll go, I'll watch it or whatever. And I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And it was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was in my top 10. I thought it was hilarious. I thought Michael Keaton still absolutely hilarious as Beetlejuice. I love the character. All his scenes were so good. Like even the very first scene, or not first scene, but even I love the. I don't know. I just gotta laugh out of like the ex-wife or whatever, out to kill him, and he's like, I don't know, that whole storyline I thought was funny, but I forget what he said. He said something very funny there. I can't now, but
I like when he tells the story though, and it's like all in Spanish, like it's like in this very thick Spanish accent, and he's telling like the background story for what happened.
oh yeah, I thought it was all hilarious. Um, yeah, anyway, and there's a scene where now I'm gonna forget. Is it Lydia, the Winona Ryder character or whatever?
Yeah, Lydia Dietz. Yeah,
Her and her scumbag fiance or whatever, like go into the I guess the what do you call it, the afterlife or something, I don't know. And Beetlejuice is there, and Beetlejuice is acting like a marriage counselor for no reason, except that's just what Beetlejuice does. He pretends to be and I thought that was hilarious, just that he's like pretending to be a marriage counselor. I don't know, like just from the get-go I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. I love like the Bob character. He never talks, but he has like this very small head. I don't know. I love the whole design of the movie. I thought it was just really, especially the afterlife. Like I thought the whole design was really cool. I thought, to me, it should win an Oscar for best makeup. I thought the makeup was so good in this movie, and the costuming and everything was just fantastic. And yeah, and Mark Keaton, that character is so unpredictable. You don't know what Beetlejuice is going to do next. He could be anything. He can be anywhere. He's like just all magical guy that can, like in the wedding scene where he's like, I think, going to marry Lydia again, and they start singing MacArthur Park for no reason, and everybody's singing because he has this magical ability to make you sing a song against your will or whatever. And they sing the whole song in MacArthur Park, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was my favorite movie. I don't know if anybody else feels the way I do, but I just thought that was a really funny movie. Beetlejuice.
yeah, I had fun with it a lot. I took the whole family and stuff, and yeah, my whole family, the kids, my wife loved it and stuff, so I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay, good. I feel like Mike's being quiet, so maybe he doesn't like it, but I don't know.
It wasn't bad, but it ultimately didn't work for me. But I appreciate it. Really worked for you, Jason. Like it's really cool.
Okay.
But you never saw Beetlejuice the first time when you were younger, huh, Mike? You got introduced to that later in life?
Yeah, like a few years ago, I watched it for the first time, but I really enjoyed it first.
Nice, that's good.
I think there was elements in this second one I liked as well, but got some gripes. But I'm not going to take away that from you both of you guys who really like it. So I'm going to keep quiet.
I do love how the whole afterlife is there. You're just standing in lines, like that's,
right.
I that you're just like they have to call your number. It's like it's like you're MV or something. I don't know.
Even when you're dead, you're still in a queue somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Next, I'm going with best drama. What was the best drama movie? Oops, lost Norin again.
Norin's gone. Peace out.
All right, Norin. You got Snowstorm's killing you.
He'll come back.
Favorite dramatic movie of the year?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe Norin's coming back. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to keep coming back. Yeah, I'll try to keep coming back. It keeps kicking me out, but I think it's just because it's so overcast over here. Like you cannot see any sun worth of nothing.
I'm sorry.
That's all good, bro.
You said best drama was next, though, right? That's what you were saying. I heard that.
Yeah, best drama. Jason was saying.
Is that you said it was next, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So best drama for me, it's trying to just categorize a movie that's specifically a drama. You know, where a lot of them are lean comedy drama, other subgenres. So yeah, this is the one that I really like. This movie. I know it was Ryan Ravenose Fan 89 favorite movie of the year. So shout out to Ryan, and that is a Ghostlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a movie that I only heard about through Ryan. I didn't know about. It never got released here in the UK.
I just heard about it for the first time when Ryan talked about it.
Yeah, and it's pretty much a lot of actors in it no one really knows. And it's basically about this construction worker who has this everyday, like job, but he's going through a lot in his own personal life and the family. There's a lot of turmoil that gets revealed as the movie goes on. And he kind of finds solace in doing a theatre play, which he has no interest in being a part of, but he slowly starts to come around. And as he starts doing his theatre play, he starts realizing that this play is representing his actual real life and stuff he's actually going through. And yeah, really great performances, different as well. A bit of an underground, under the radar kind of movie also. And yeah, one I found pleasantly surprised to be kind of quite invested in as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I think for some people they might find it a bit boring. Just in general, I know like this will really connect with people, or just be like, nah, it's a bit of a hit, a bit of a miss. Sorry, but yeah, Ghostlight for me.
Okay, interesting pick.
Sweet.
Norin, your best drama.
So yeah, this was probably the hardest category because I was like, what is drama? Like really right now, like what is being released that's drama? And like I said, I didn't stray away from horror that much. So when it comes to drama, the two I think most dramatic movies I watched were Dune Part 2 was pretty dramatic, I think, and that's because it's like very political heavy, and then like what happens between him and Zendaya and all that stuff. But I kind of want to talk about this one because Mike already brought this up too. Was Anora I wanted to put in this spot, and the reason I wanted to talk about this one was because everybody had this labeled as a comedy.
Yes,
which I did laugh. I did laugh at this movie. There are funny parts, but I think what is best about this movie is the drama moments. So for me, like I like those moments, and I thought they should have leaned heavier into that. A similar movie is like Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls. Like they should have leaned more heavier into that. And what they did was they kind of did this montage through the first act where they just kind of show you, and like you don't really get connected to their relationship at all. That's one thing too. Like I didn't feel like she really loved him. I was kind of like, what? Like I was confused by that. But I was like, I wanted to put this in best drama because there's moments where like Mikey Madsen, she completely just lost herself in this character. She became this character. And it's kind of interesting, like when you see actors or actresses and they just totally lose themselves in a performance. And I thought her performance was fantastic. So like this one, I would say, yeah, just because like I love the drama moments in this one, but it is a confusing movie.
I have a feeling you're gonna lose even more. And
Oh man, the weather on his end is not really great.
man,
But I agree with him. With like, I definitely I would class Anora as a drama as well.
Yeah.
Not a comedy at all. Comedy's like American Pie, like Anora's not like that at all,
yeah.
Yeah.
Norin, you there?
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. I will say the character that made me laugh in Anora was the guy that works for the family that comes over and is like forcing her to get annulled. I don't know.
Which one?
The older character that's like, he was kind of driving everything. Like, we're gonna go get this annulled, And,
oh yeah, I can't remember his name. Tony, was it Tony? No, maybe not Tony.
Yeah, I don't know. He kind of made
Yeah.
me. He made me laugh a little bit, like when someone said to him like, "Why don't you go on Instagram?" And he goes, "I don't have Instagram. I'm an adult," or something like that. And I was like, "That's such a great line." I was like, because I don't have Instagram either. Yeah, there's a couple lines like that. Like one of the what made me laugh is one of the strippers says, "Oh, she said something like I had to do a lap dance on this guy. He's so ancient. He was like 40 years old." I'm like, "I'm 41." Like, oh, that hurt when she said that. He's ancient. Like, but when you're 20, 40 seems old. But anyways, gosh, Norin, I don't know if I'll get Norin on this one. Just bad weather, unfortunately.
I guess just continuing, and I guess if he can
Yeah.
come in and the streams, like his networks, and then maybe catch up on his picks, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Next category is best action movie.
Yeah, so for me, again, I think it depends what you define as action. You know, because for me, like action's like John Wick, right? That's purely action. So I kind of had two sort of picks here. So is he here? Is he? Ah, there we go.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah. So for me, again, depending on how you play this, so I would say maybe Deadpool, Wolverine. You could say action and the set pieces kind of thing. But I guess if you're going specifically action, I guess the only kind of big movie we had this year fit that category is probably Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Like that's for me an action movie, whereas
yeah,
superhero movies are like superhero movies, like different kind of genre. I mean, I'm going to say Deadpool Wolverine because I'd watch that one over again than the Bad Boys Ride or Die. But depends how you kind of categorize it, really. I can't really say much about Deadpool Wolverine that hasn't already been said by us or other people, you know.
You like Bad Boys?
I didn't mind it. I didn't love it as much as like the last one we had, like For Life. You know, Bad Boys for Life. I prefer.
Nice. Yeah, bad. I didn't see Bad Boys yet. I didn't see the most recent one yet.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. You know, in my opinion, yeah.
Nice.
I gave like 15. I have like 15 movies I thought were, decent, and that's probably number 15 on my list. You know, it probably barely made it into the decent movies. Favorite action movie, Norin?
Favorite action. So this one I'm going to go with Furiosa Mad Max Saga.
Yeah.
And this one I'm very impressed by what George Miller can do. Even though this one's very CGI heavy compared to the previous one, you can tell there's more CGI in this one, but I think Furiosa Mad Max Saga is really cool. Plus, George Miller has done so much with this universe now that I think he has a right to kind of be a little overindulgent with it. So a lot of the stuff in it I appreciated and everything. So this one, the car chase scenes, the action sequences, the gunfights, it was up there.
That first, when you see Furiosa as a adult, I guess, Angelina Joy, and they're going on some kind of, they have a big convoy or something like that, and they're going somewhere and they get attacked.
Yeah.
It's like the big action sequence of the movie. That was a great action sequence. People jumping on and you have to knock them off, and it's like,
oh yeah.
And she's like climbing through underneath, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it makes it very intense the way they shoot those and edit those ones. It's very intense, like the fixing of the thing under the car, and then like people were just flying everywhere, getting set on fire and stuff.
Yeah, for me, I went with Deadpool and Wolverine. That might be the sick choice, but I had to go with that. That was one of my favorite movies of the year, and I was really hyped up for this movie. I was so excited for this movie, and I'm so glad it didn't disappoint. It was a solid Deadpool movie where really good comedy from Deadpool and Ron Reynolds. And then you had one of my favorite superhero characters of all time, Wolverine. I love Wolverine and love that Hugh Jackman came back. And I'll lay this on you guys. This makes sense. If you make a movie that people want to see, they will give you a lot of money, like Deadpool and Wolverine. People were asking for a Deadpool Wolverine for a long time. They said, all right, here's the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Boom. It made a ton of money. If you make a movie that nobody asked for, like Madam Web, guess what? You don't make any money. It's that simple. Craven. No one was asking for a Craven movie. Guess what? It didn't make any money. So here's the lesson. Make movies that people want to go see. Anyways, that's my take on that. Does that make sense? I mean, anyways. I love that they got those two together. I just talked about my favorite scene is the scene where they have to fight all the Deadpools and from all the universes, whatever, and they play Madonna's "Like a Prayer," which worked really well somehow in the scene. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool song. But and this is me, like when Wolverine, the whole movie, he's got the traditional Wolverine, which I loved. I love that he's wearing the yellow outfit, whatever. And when he pulled over his mask, I got goosebumps. I mean, I did. Like, I didn't know I needed that, but I was like, I didn't know that was going to happen. And when he did that, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, that's so cool. I don't know. I geeked out. Like, I guess as someone who was a huge fan of the X-Men cartoon series as a kid, somebody who read the X-Men comic books as a kid, someone who dressed up as Wolverine for Halloween as a kid. Like, I loved Wolverine, and just seeing him put that mask on, I don't know. That was everything I wanted for a Wolverine movie. I was like, oh God, I love that. And when they go into all those Deadpools and they're just slicing them up, there's blood splatter, and I just love how the whole scene was shot. It was just like a side scroller. They're just going from one Deadpool to another, and the camera's just following them through that bus, and you just see blood splatter everywhere on the bus. And I thought that was such a cool action sequence, and I love seeing Deadpool and Wolverine together. Yeah, that's the typical answer maybe, but man, it was good. It delivered. It was funny and had action. Yeah, funny enough, the three of us agreed last year. We all had the same action movie, which was Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, yeah.
Right.
We haven't agreed on anything so far. Interesting enough, we all had different picks, but
yeah.
Mission Impossible. There's a Mission Impossible coming out this year, so we'll see what happens. All right, next category should be good for you guys. Best horror / thriller.
Nice.
I don't know if you want to go first, Norin. You're the horror guy.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so for me, best horror thriller is going to be Alien Romulus. I don't think it's really a secret for people who follow my channel because it's the only movie from last year that I watched 4 times. My son actually asked me to rewatch this film, so I love it that my son, we went to the theaters and he was kind of scared of the movie, and then even after that, like we got home and when I bought it on physical, my son was like, "Oh, Dad, like we should watch that." And I was like, so it's like this is like the only film that got me emotional this year, where I actually like teared up a bit in it. And like I said, I watched it 4 different times, and for me, it's very hard to find a film that is in a franchise that you love, and when you go, it kind of just hits every note you want, and that's what Alien Romulus kind of did for me. So that's why I really respect Fede.
The criticism I'm hearing about the movie is that, and I haven't seen any of the Alien movies, is that too much like the other, or too much like the first one, or there's moments that they're just repeating itself. I think that's the criticism of the movie I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what some people said. They didn't like the member berries of the nostalgia stuff, which I didn't mind it because one of them serves the purpose of the story. They could have did it better if they executed it without the CGI that they tried to use, which they corrected that on physical media. For anybody who's interested, I bought it on physical media, and they actually did correct that, where they changed it a little bit, and it's more just the actual puppet, and there's less CGI, and they actually darkened the scene too on the 4K, so it's a little bit darker. The blackness is a little deeper. But I don't mind the member berry stuff because for me, like I said, it hit every note for me. Like for real, like it was one of those films that took Alien franchise back to being scary. Like some of the other Alien movies, like Prometheus isn't scary. Like I don't think that movie's scary at all. It's just a good movie. Alien Romulus, I think, is a scary movie. And I was sitting there with a packed theater, Like my son was kind of like cowering in my wife's arms. My daughters were kind of like this. Like one of my daughters was like that. So that's what got me so emotional. I was like, this is how people reacted when the first Alien came out. Like, this is how it was. And I'm like sitting there living in that moment. So I'll always remember that for real.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
That's great.
So cool.
Mike, do you have a favorite horror thriller?
Yeah, well, first I was going to say with Norin, just very quickly, yeah, it means very rare you get that nowadays. Where everyone's like hiding behind their hands or that kind of feeling. So that's really cool. You got to experience that, bro. That's really awesome. Yeah. So for me, well, best horror. Maybe no surprise. I saw this movie twice last year. That is The Substance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For me, also, I want to just kind of commend the marketing team because this is a movie that had a trailer that basically told you nothing what this movie's about, what's going to happen. Like, you know, and I really appreciate that because nowadays you have to have like 5 trailers for every movie. You have to have TV spots. You have to have this and that to sell a movie. And this basically had a voiceover with a green substance, and that was it, being like The Substance. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that's what we're gonna have. Yeah, knockout performances, really great story, an absolute bonkers third act, which I didn't know what to expect with this, but when that third act happened, I was just left in like kind of just my mouth open with that. What am I watching here? And yeah, when this movie finished, I got home and my partner Emma was like, "Well, how was it?" I was like, "It is so good." And she's like, "Well, what's it about?" And I'm like, "I can't tell you anything what it's about. We're gonna go see it when this releases." So we did. So yeah, for me, best horror, The Substance.
All right. Yeah, I thought this guy. Well, I don't watch horror movies, so I didn't watch any horror, and that's why I put thriller on here because I need a movie for me to.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So I say horror thriller because I'm like I can put a thriller. I like thrillers. I can do that all day, but horror I'm into. So from what I'm hearing though, this was a great year for horror movies. It's from what I'm getting at. The Substance is on a lot of top 10 lists, and it'll probably get nominated for Best Picture, which is kind of crazy because you don't usually get horror movies get nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. And not only that, but probably might even win Best Actress for Demi Moore. She won the Golden Globe, so she has a chance in there. Margaret Qualley maybe gets a chance at supporting actress, get nominated anyways. The director, I think, could get nominated. I don't know. It could get nominated for like best. I want to say makeup, special effects, maybe could get in there.
Yeah.
So it's getting a lot of praise. I mean, which you don't see that. Like, I don't think I've seen that since like Silence of the Lambs back in '91. A horror movie kind of getting this much praise. So I'm sure the horror community is pretty happy about that. Like, whoa, we got a horror movie actually going to get into Best Picture. You know. And I'm trying to remember now. I'm a blank now, but there's a lot of horror movies that did very well. I feel like A Night with the Devil, not with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil, yeah.
I'm seeing that on a lot of top 10 lists. People seem to really. I don't know much about that. I haven't seen it, but people seem to really like that movie. Of course, you mentioned Alien Romulus. Some people really like that one. Longlegs, a lot of people seem to like that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
Terrifier 3, I don't know. There's a lot of praise for it. It's just a crazy movie from what I'm hearing. I know I'm blanking out on some horror movies because I know there's been a lot of
Nosferatu was a big one that late night year, but Mike and them, they didn't get it till after the new year, so that was kind of like a 2025 movie for them.
So that dropped for us on January 1st.
Yeah.
I've still not seen it. Maybe end of this week, next week, I'll see Nosferatu. I'm kind of intrigued.
Nice. Yeah, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, bro. I was just going to add Norin as well, because I don't know if Jason will be interested in this. But on YouTube, by the way, if you go on Mubi's YouTube, the studio that make The Substance, the other day they released like a 29-minute behind-the-scenes video on the making of The Substance.
Nice.
And it's wild.
What?
I hope
Just
that's
with
on
like
the physical media release. I hope that's on the Blu-ray or the DVD. That'd be sweet.
I hope so, but if not, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like right now, and it's just amazing with the small budget they had. Like what they did, it's nuts.
Yeah, Nosferatu is getting really good reviews. I've seen a lot of top 10 favorite movies list. Yeah, it feels like a lot of horror movies are getting really well reviewed this year. That's my feeling. Maybe I'm just maybe they get reviewed well every year, but I just really feel like I'm hearing a lot about horror movies this year. I don't know if that's just me.
I think it's about time, really, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be an Oscar show or a show or an award ceremony about celebrating movies, you can't just always alienate horror forever, because it's still movies. It's still really well shot. There's still people who work on cinematography, music, VFX, practical effects, actors.
Yeah.
Like Demi Moore in a horror movie. Like you can't really ignore that kind of stuff. And even if you don't like the movie, she gives a really great performance. So it's nice to see that they actually won something for that. I was really happy with that.
I'm sure. Yeah. Your brother seems to differ, Mike. Says he got 3/4 of the way through The Substance. Absolute shite.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no good horror movie.
It's The Substance is probably like the most gorgeous looking movie I've seen all year. That movie has like the shots, the colors, and like some of the color palette and what like Coralie Farge did with just the cinematography. It's really pretty to look at.
Yeah, it's getting so much praise across the board. Yeah, thanks, Joe. I guess he likes the facial hair as well. Don't go see Vasa. I don't know about that. I guess I have to go bald for that. But thanks, Joe. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Joe.
Mike's brother, Joe, there. But yeah, and I feel like I'm forgetting some horror movies. But anyways, horror movies so well reviewed this year, I feel like, and I haven't seen any of them, unfortunately. I know. What did you recommend me? You recommend me Maxine, I think. Norin.
I think you could stomach Maxine. I think you could watch that one because Maxine's more of like a detective thriller. There are horror elements in it and gruesome moments, but it's more of like a detective seedy thriller from like the 70s than it is a horror movie.
Yeah, I think you said I could watch Maxine. Oddity, you thought maybe I could watch. And
That's a good one, yeah.
Abigail was another one.
Abigail, I think that one, just because it's just a lot of fun. That was the one that I kind of was leaning towards best comedy, but it's more, like I said, it's more horror, but there is a lot of comedy elements in Abigail.
I think you'd be fine with Abigail, because just about kill a vampire. Like it's not crazy, I would say.
Yeah, and that was I think Abigail, I've seen a lot of people talk about that one. People seem to like that one as well. Yeah. Anyways, but for me, I'm gonna go with Trap. Is that the one you probably thought I was gonna go with?
Yeah, that was gonna be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I went with Trap. I know I've talked about it already in my underrated movies, but yeah, it was the one thriller that, again, I was thrilled. Like, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, this makes no sense," or "These choices make no sense," or "This was stupid." I was like, I don't know. I was with it the whole time. I was like, yeah, it's implausible maybe, but I was like, it made sense to me, like all the stuff that happened. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That could happen, I guess, But I was, the whole time I was like, oh man, how are they going to catch this guy? How are they going to catch this guy? And to me, the second half of the movie I liked even better, because, not to spoil the movie too much, but first half is all in this concert. Second half, they actually get out of the concert venue, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen now? And especially the Raven character, she puts herself into some really dangerous situations, and I kind of like that about the character, that she went out of her way to risk her own life to save somebody else. And that was the family scene, the scene where she's sitting with the family, and it's like she knows he's the killer, he knows it, and he's like trying to put on a smile and like everything's fine, but he's like thinking like, what are you doing, and like, how's she gonna get out of this situation, and how's she gonna catch the guy? I don't know. I was just totally invested in the movie personally. I thought Josh Hartnett was great as the serial killer, because he's a good-looking guy. He has a good smile. He seems like a good father and everything. But as the movie goes on, you kind of see a little more craziness in his eyes. You see, like, okay, something's not right with this guy. I thought that was great. Anyways, the ending was a little, I don't know. I don't know if I liked the ending that much, because I was like, that really happened? Okay, whatever. I in my mind, I'm thinking he got caught and that's the end of it, but who knows? Um, even the wife, the reveal of the wife, her what she knew, I thought was interesting as well. Anyways, I thought it was a great thriller, and I can't think I've seen that many, but I thought it was good.
Great concept.
Your brother again. What's going on here?
Yes, yeah, I liked Trap. I had fun with it. It wasn't in my top 10, but I had fun with it. But it's easily probably Josh Hartnett's best performance. We got to thank Shyamalan for that because Josh Hartnett is a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I think Josh Hartnett was really good in the movie. I think the concept is really cool. Like a serial killer trapped in a concert. Like that is unique. I've never seen that before. Trap.
Yeah.
And I think that was great. And I think the first act of how he's trying to get out this venue, really good. But then I think, unfortunately for me personally, after that, it just went downhill. But I appreciate Jason for, as it went on, it was like, wow, it's even better.
He's like,
I know.
Give me more.
I can agree. I can respect it for a bit. It's cool.
Joe says, I hated the way the substance was shot. And I think Norin just said he liked the way it's shot.
Damn, that's crazy though. Like for real, because that thing, like I was watching that and I was like, I can't wait to own this on 4K. Like that was my idea when I was watching it.
Me too, Norin. Me too.
Like this is gonna be.
But again, it's quite cool in the way though that not everyone loves that movie. So there's a different take.
Yeah, Joe really coming at us on this. What do you like, Joe? I guess is the question.
Right.
Not what we're talking about. Trap had so much potential, a fantastic plot, yeah. But I thought the acting was horrendous. Felt big for me personally. Yeah, I didn't mind it, but
a lot of it is definitely suspend disbelief. Especially like how Josh Hartnett gets a security pass and he's in this meeting with all the security police officers and stuff, and it's like, what? Surely these staff members would have seen this guy before, like who he is.
I like when he's sitting in on the meeting though, like just having coffee, and he's just like sitting there, like just blending in. He's just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm supposed to be here.
Right.
I have to mention, I do love that he talks to that one guy that works there. I mean, that was stupid that he gave him all this information just out of nowhere. And then they go, and he's like, oh, let me get you this T-shirt. And they're like back there, and he's telling them all this information. But at the very end, when that guy was watching TV and sees that guy was a serial killer, he's like, what?
Oh, the mid-credit scene. Yeah, the little mid-credit scene. Yeah.
I laughed so hard. He's like, buddy guy. And then he's like, oh, he's a serial killer. Like, that was a great ending. I don't know, for me. All right. Now more down my alley. Best animation movie.
Yeah. Did you want me to go first again, Jason?
You go, Norin.
All right, so best animated movie, I'm going to go Transformers 1. This was kind of a big surprise, too, because I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. And then I bought this for the kids, and we watched it together and just at the home. That was the first time I watched it. I didn't go to the theaters. I just bought it on physical. I was like, let's watch it. Kids' night, having my nephew over, my niece, and my son. And we all loved it. It was really, really interesting, and I liked the story. And it's cool to get that, that little bit of friendship between Optimus and Megatron, before they broke up, before everything got so turmoil.
I love that movie. That was so good.
I think it's right up there with the 80s movie for me. Like, I still like the 80s movie better, mainly because I love that soundtrack too. And I love the design of the 80s movie, but Transformers 1 is a very, very close second.
Yeah, and way better than the live action ones, I think.
Yeah.
100%.
Mike, do you have a favorite? What's your? I know it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
So the thing is, when you put this category, Jason, you said favorite animation.
Yeah.
Anime. So I was like, right, animation. There is an anime movie we're going to talk about later. But this is just purely animation. So for me, that's like a Toy Story compared to like an anime in a way. So for me, same as Norin, Transformers 1.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, like, this is the one I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks like the biggest pile of turd I've ever seen. The trailer did nothing for me. So I actually avoided this movie for 1 month. I was like, I'm not going to go see it. I was like, nope. But then everyone was saying this was like the best Transformers movie ever and one of the best movies of the year. And I was like, are people smoking something that I'm not on right now? Like, what's going on? So I caught this on a showing, like the last showing at my cinema after 1 month had been out. I went to the show and it was me and like this woman and her son or grandson, whatever. We were the only ones in the cinema. And I was shocked how much I loved this movie. The comedy's so good. The storyline of Optimus and Megatron having a friendship before they made enemies, which the live-action movies never explain. That they're just enemies from the get-go and expect you to know why they're enemies. But I never grew up with Transformers, so I don't know why they're enemies. But this movie told me, okay, this is why they're enemies. Of course, in this rendition. And yeah, just very entertaining. Runtime is perfect. Pacing's great. Likable characters. And by the time we got to the post-credit scene, I was like, give me a sequel to Transformers 1. Transformers 2. I want to see that right now. You know? And yeah, I've been getting the steelbook for this because they released a really beautiful steelbook. And I know I've been coming back on physical media with my latest video. I talked about that. But if they reduce the price of this, I'll be picking this one up on physical media. So yeah, Transformers 1, favorite animation movie for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, gosh, I love Transformers 1, but I went with The Wild Robot as my favorite
Nice.
from DreamWorks.
Nice. I've not seen that movie yet.
So good. It was a pretty good year for animation, I would think. Inside Out 2, $2. You know, I wasn't a big fan. I don't know why I wasn't a big fan of Inside Out 2. It was okay. But it made a bunch of money. But then The Wild Robot, man, I thought that was so good. That was, I wasn't sure like how much. I was like, oh, I think I might like this. I love it. Like, it's one of the best DreamWorks movies I think they've ever made. I love the main character, Roz, the robot. It's one of the best robot characters ever made. Like, maybe next to Wall-E is my favorite like animation robot, maybe. And I just love the whole storyline of it being in this, you know, crash lands on this island, and it's supposed to help human beings, but the island didn't have any humans; it just has animals. So now it's trying to figure out, you know, how these animals work. And I love that the animals like are scared of it at first, but then they kind of warm up to it. I don't know. And then there's this whole storyline with this duck, and she's kind of the robot. I say she because it's Lupita Nyong'o doing the voice. Kind of has to take care of this baby duck and raise it like a mother. And so there's great, you know, kind of dramatic, you know, very, you know, emotional scenes of it, you know, kind of because he wants the I think duck or goose or something like that, and wants it to fly, you know, with its, you know, when they fly south for winter or whatever. And so it's trying to raise it up so it'll, you know, be able to fly with the group, whatever. Some great scenes there. It's a hilarious movie, though. I mean, I laughed a lot in that movie, and I wasn't expecting that. So there's this Fox character who's voiced by Pedro Pascal. Absolutely hilarious character, the Fox character. And anyways, and there's all these different characters, animal characters that, and so yeah, it's a great story. It's hilarious. It has some good dramatic moments as well. It's just the animation is so good too. I love the animation style. Is really good as well. DreamWorks has done really good with animation lately, I think, as far as the look of the movie. I really love the look of the movie. Anyways, yeah, that was my favorite. Transformers 1 is my second favorite. Oh my gosh, that movie was so good too. I agree with you guys. I thought that movie's hilarious. Like, I laughed a lot in that movie, especially Bumblebee is funny. Michael Keegan Key playing Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Oh, so many funny lines coming from him. Yeah, and the whole story, and I love the end with I love the whole, you know, when they find out, you know, about the primes and how like they didn't have the thing that makes them transform, and
the Matrix, and like the Energon and all,
and like, no, you guys can transform too. And the first time they transform, I got goosebumps, and like, because I've been a Transformers like Transformers fan as a kid, you know, with that movie and the TV show back in the 80s. And so when they transform for the first time, you hear that, you know, the sound effects. And when Optimus Prime says "roll out." I'm like, oh yes, roll out. Like so. So I did get a lot of nostalgia for that. Yeah, that movie was way better than I expected.
Yeah.
So to me, Wild Robot and Transformers One, some of the best animation movies I've seen. Really good job there. So I wish I could have said Transformers One. We could have had the same movie, but I have to go with the Wild Robot, just slightly above. I bought both movies.
Okay.
I have both movies on Blu-ray. I bought both of them at Walmart recently.
Nice.
Because Deadpool and Wolverine was like sold out. I couldn't find any Deadpool and Wolverine movies. But that was around Christmas time. So
Yeah, it was a big sellout, that one.
Joe says, watch the Indian movie Kill.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah, basically the Indian John Wick. I've heard. Yeah, it's meant to be really, really good. It is on my list to watch.
We got Jackson here from Horsetooth Cinema.
Hey, Jackson.
Great idea for video. Thinking of doing a version of this sometime around the Oscars. Okay, awesome.
Nice. It could be cool to see you back on YouTube, Jackson.
Jackson has been doing videos lately, live streams. Another guy named Leon. And they did a top 10 best movies and top 10. They just did top 10 worst movies the other day, and I was watching it. And boy, did I disagree with them on some of those movies that they had. That's all I have to say, Jackson. The one thing we agreed on was Jackson really liked Trap. It was one of his favorite movies of the year. So like me and Jackson and Leon all agreed on Trap. That was like the one thing we all kind of agreed on. There's some other stuff that we really disagreed on. It was kind of funny. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Is this the Wild Robot we're talking about? Loved it. Beautiful animation.
Yeah, we've just been talking about that. Yeah, Jason's just been talking about that one.
Yeah, great animation. I think I missed some. Okay. I missed something. Did I? No. Oh, no. Okay. Yes, you did have. We did agree that Mountain Web was one of the worst movies of the year. We did agree on that. That's true.
Jason loved that movie.
Yeah, it's coming up on my favorite.
Can't go wrong with Sydney Sweeney. Can't go wrong.
That was like
I have to give props to Madam Web though, but because the money she made from that helped her make Immaculate, and I love Immaculate. So if it wasn't for Madam Web, I wouldn't have Immaculate. So I gotta like give some kind of love to that movie, I guess.
Well, just to say, Jackson had Deadpool and Wolverine like number 5 or 4 on his worst list, and I totally disagreed with him on that. I was like, oh, I love Wolverine, and he hated it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that
Bit
was
of a hot take, but fair.
Bit of a hot take there. Joe said, don't think Mike has seen it yet, and you probably haven't because it's horror, Jason. But I'm hoping Norin can tell me his thoughts on Cobweb.
Oh, Cobweb was actually pretty good. That was a pretty good one.
Don't know if I know that one. Yeah, Cobweb.
Yeah, that one had a good creepy parents in it. I wish it went a little bit more hardcore, and it it kind of has like a PG-13 feel to it, but it is creepy and it's got some scares in it. But I wanted it to be a little bit more gruesome. But I understand that's not the kind of movie it was trying to be.
Nice. I know, Joe.
Isn't for him. Okay.
I can kind of understand.
The next category I have is documentary, but I wonder if we should skip that and try to get the other ones by the end of the stream. Or do you want to do documentary?
We could just rattle them off real quick if you want. It's up to you. Do you have one, Mike?
Yeah, well, when I looked for my list, I think I only watched really one mainly documentary last year.
Yeah.
And that was Cult Massacre, One Day in Jonestown, about Jim Jones.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
See that one.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that one, Norin.
No, I haven't. That wasn't one that I watched this past year now.
That one really, really interesting. I personally didn't know a lot about that. I know bits and pieces, but not as much as I learned for that documentary. And I think the crazy thing about that one is Jim Jones's actual real life son is on that documentary talking about like his dad as well. And I was like, wow, what an interesting perspective to hear from. Some of the survivors from that as well was talking, and really eye-open documentary for sure. Really, really interesting.
And Norin, do you have a best documentary?
Mine, I'm going with Superman, the Christopher Reeve
Yeah.
story. So that one, yeah, I watched that one. They got that on HBO Max. That was a really good one. And I'm not the biggest fan of his movies, which is kind of cool because I don't like Superman that much. And like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of Christopher Reeves, but this documentary, kind of like how Mike said, kind of had this eye-opening experience where it let us in on some more stuff. And I feel like a lot of the greatest stuff he did was stuff he did after the movie, which is cool. And it's just really awesome to see all the stories from his kids, you know what I mean, and his ex-wife and everything, and just see them talk about him and stuff, and how he was, he was a real person. He was a real man, he had weaknesses and everything, but he did everything he can to make a statement and make an impact in this world. And I thought it was a really good documentary.
Great.
I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I'm really dying to see it as well.
Oh,
yeah, it's cool, dude.
Yeah, that was a great documentary. I went with the Beach Boys documentary on Disney Plus.
Nice.
I really like the Beach Boys, so I thought that was the first like really cool documentary I've seen on them, with everybody that's still alive giving interviews, which was cool, and all the back footage was great. Plus all the Beach Boys are still alive. The very last shot of them sitting on the beach kind of made me emotional. Go, they might not be alive very much longer, and so it's cool to see them all together. Anyways, I wanted to give a shout out to The Quiet on the Set. Was a very powerful documentary on Max. And the Vince documentary I thought was kind of fun on Netflix.
Cool.
We all talked about it on Mike's channel, actually, I think. Yeah.
Eye-opening for sure.
Was called McMahon. I forget. It might have been just called McMahon or something like that. But yeah.
Mr. McMahon, right?
Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, it was Mr. McMahon. Yeah.
Mr. McMahon. Because we're all wrestling fans, so that was fun for me. All right, now we're gonna go with, what do you think had the worst performance? What actor or actress you thought just was absolutely terrible?
I've got a good one.
What do you think, Norin?
I went with one you guys might not know. I don't think you guys seen this movie, but it's from Destroy All Neighbors, and it's Jonah Ray. And he's not really that big an actor. He's more of a comedian. But it sucks when you put a comedian in a horror comedy movie and it's not funny at all. Like, this is one of those movies I watched this year and I just had zero laughs. It was like uncomfortably painful, like when you're sitting there and you're just like, whoo, like it was one of those kind of movies. So yeah, I put Jonah Ray, and he's pretty cool in Christmas Bloody Christmas, but it's just he's in there for like a smidgen. He's in there for a little bit. You only get like a tiny bit of him, and in this movie he's asked to be the lead actor and carry the movie, and he just doesn't do a good job.
What a weird premise I remember you talking about that movie is like one of the worst movies of the year, I think, or something, or worst horror movies maybe.
Yeah, it was on my disappointing movies. Yeah,
it sounded like a weird premise for a movie. And I don't think I've ever heard of that movie, so that was the first time. I heard somebody else though, I think, put on their worst movie list. So you're not alone. I've heard someone else say it.
Cool.
So.
I saw that one as well. I got the screen from Shudder to check that one out.
You did? Okay.
It was a stinker.
Maybe it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Jonah Ray, I kind of know him. He's funny. He can be funny at times, but yeah.
Just don't put him in the movie, Jason. He's bad.
Well, he's probably not. So yeah. All right, Mike, worst performance of the year.
Yeah, so this one I had to kind of go through my letterbox, just kind of maybe see like my worst movies, what I ranked the lowest. So this one is Madison Bailey in Time Cut. I don't know if you guys saw Time Cut.
Yeah.
What is that?
So Time Cut, Jason, is kind of like a time travel movie, a bit like Totally Killer that I think came out.
Okay, I remember you talking.
Yeah. That movie's horrible. It was filmed before Totally Killer as well,
Really?
but released afterwards.
Yeah, so they had the concept first, but it's like Mike said, it's good.
Nah, I think there's a cool idea in there about going to, back, present day and going back in time to try stop like a serial killer or the origin of becoming a killer in the future and stopping that. No, I think that's a cool premise, but both movies haven't landed it. And that performance by her, she went back to 2003, but she's an actress who's like 16, 17-year-old, something like that, like now. So I'm just like, at that point, she wasn't probably born, or I mean, and it just felt like she was playing cosplay of 2003. Nothing screamed 2003 in that movie whatsoever. And I was 13 at that time, so I know what 2003 was like.
I remember 2000.
You know? And just a terrible, I can't really say too much, just terrible performance. Just don't watch the movie.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I want to go for the whole cast for Madam Web, but if I had to say one, I'd probably go with Dakota Johnson in Madam Web. I want to say the whole cast was just horrible. It was just bad acting all around, and the villain was so terrible. That was one of the worst villain performances I've ever seen in my life. And voice didn't match his. When he talked, his voice didn't match at all. It was so bad. So I don't know if I can say that it was his fault or whose fault it was. But anyway, Dakota Johnson, she was just, I don't know if I've ever seen her in a movie. All I know, she was in the 50 Shades of Grey movies. I've heard those were pretty bad.
Yeah.
And she wasn't good at those. She's attractive. I'll give her that. Like, she's a pretty attractive, actress. But acting-wise, based on this movie, I don't think she should be, acting. But I might be wrong on that.
I've seen her in a few movies, Jason.
Yes.
Like comedy drama movies, and I compare her to a brick wall. Like
she's very plain, very plain.
Every single movie, she's plain, she's dull. Yeah. It's like a brick wall. No matter how many times you paint it, it's still a brick wall. It's never going to change. And that's her performance in every single movie, including Madam Web.
Yeah, it was just some of the worst acting I've ever seen. I was just, boggled by how bad the acting was in that movie.
It's bad.
The only good thing I thought was Sydney Sweeney was in a short skirt. That was like the only thing I thought was good.
She's amazing. Yeah, she's good, man. You should watch Immaculate. No, not really. You should not watch that. Don't watch that, because I know that's not a good movie for you to watch, but I wish you would, because that is a cool movie, though.
Well, I still haven't seen, but I need to watch that romantic comedy with her and Glenn Powell. Looked pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another reason why she did Madam Web, because Madam Web's through Sony. So like she did that with Madam Web, so then she got good with Sony to do that romantic comedy movie as well. So yeah, I like her. She's a good actress.
I heard she's good in that, but or it looks good, anyways. But anyways, all right. So now we're going with best male performance.
Best male
actor, supporting, lead, whatever you thought was the best. Let's go. You go with you, Norin.
So for me, I'm gonna go Skarsgård on this one, Bill, because for real, like I tested this too, because my wife, she doesn't watch trailers and keep up with movies like me. Like, she knows about movies, but she doesn't keep up on like who's in them and stuff and this, that, unless it's Batman. If it's to do with Batman, my wife knows everything about it. But in terms of Nosferatu, she had no idea that was Skarsgård. And I went in and we watched that movie, and then I told her after, and she was like, "Are you freaking serious?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, for real. That's Skarsgård." Like, he legit lost himself in this character. So in terms of prosthetics, the transformation into this character, and the voice acting and like kind of modulation that he had to do and learn how to do, which you can tell they kind of edited it a little bit and modulated it in editing room, but he did learn how to do a certain octave and go lower with his voice. So I think Bill Skarsgård definitely deserves the best male performance, because he's just proving that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to play very weird avant-garde characters for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
He's got quite a resume already, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the guy that was Pennywise?
Yeah, he did Pennywise. He was the new Crow.
Not good, but from what so he had a bad performance and a good performance, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
to be honest though, Jason, you might like the new Crow.
Really?
I mean, there's like some action sequences there, a bit like John Wick, like bloody action kind of sequence in a way. Not to spoil too much, but
yeah. Do you think I could watch Nosferatu, or is that what?
I don't think there's that much like gruesome stuff in it that would turn you off. Like for me, like Nosferatu, it's more of like an experience. It's more of like the atmosphere. That's what kind of sucks you into the mood of this movie. And the fact that when I'm watching it, like it felt like we were legit in 1847. Like I just felt like we were in that time period and everything around us was just dripping in that atmosphere. And like I said, I loved the performances. And I think there's a lot to say about what Nosferatu and also the representation of the plague, which was something that was happening at that time back then across the pond and stuff. So it does say a lot about that time. And I think for me, it's Egger's best film. I think it's his best.
nice, man.
All right, Mike, do you have a favorite male performance?
Yeah, and this is just going off movies I've seen because I've not seen Nosferatu, so I can't comment.
I know.
Norin's a good judge of performances, so I trust his opinion on that one.
Thank you.
Of course. And Norin's probably going to really enjoy this pick, actually, because I was kind of wondering, male performance, who's really stood out for me? And mine is David Johnson for Alien Romulus.
Oh.
Yeah, I think David, and I don't get me wrong, I like the movie. I don't love the movie, but I like the movie. But I think him best character in Romulus by far, and really cool, quite different of a character as such, and really great performance from an actor I don't know nothing about. I've never seen him before in anything, and I was like, wow, his performance. I was like, he's given it like it's all here. It seemed like it really was. And yeah, like it was the best part of the Alien movie for me in general. So yeah, I'm gonna go David Johnson for that one.
All right.
Nice. Respect, bro. Yeah, he was good because they basically asked him to be two different kind of characters in the movie, and his like Mike was saying, his facial cues, like what he does with his face. Oh, he does some really good acting.
Especially as a guy who's a robot, essentially, like robot AI kind of character, you have to emote with facial expression, and I just think he does a great job.
Yeah.
So David Johnson better than Dakota Johnson. That's what I'm hearing.
Right.
Well, for me, I'm going with Timothy Chalamet in Complete Unknown, playing Bob Dylan.
Nice.
I thought he was so good, and we rag on Timothy Chalamet. I know, Mike does. And I thought he was terrible in like Willy Wonka and stuff like that. And sometimes I think, in fact, I talked to Mike about him doing a biopic on his life, and Mike said, "Who should play me?" I said, "Timothy Chalamet," and he said, "No."
But again,
you love that bones and all, Mike. Don't lie. You love that bones and all, baby.
Nose and all. That's what that movie is. That's bad. That's a bad movie. But Jason, not to interrupt you, the Complete Unknown we don't get till this Friday coming.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So next week I'll be checking that movie out.
Okay, I hope so. But I don't know if I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, but I'm a fairly big Bob Dylan fan. I like a lot of early, especially this time period. This kind of covers his early 63 to 65 period when he goes from being someone no one's heard about to being one of the most popular, singer-songwriters of all time and some of the biggest, folk music of all time. And so I love this period of music, and I thought he nailed it. So the mannerisms, the voice, and then the singing, the guitar playing and singing, he totally nailed as well. To me, it was one of those movies where I'm like, wow, like Timothy Chalamet was Bob Dylan, like Rami Malek was Freddie Mercury in like Bohemian Rhapsody for me, or Joaquin Phoenix was Johnny Cash and Walk the Line. It's one of those performances where I forget that I'm watching an actor, and I feel like I'm really watching the real person. That's why I felt like in this, and I think he's going to get nominated for Best Actor. He could win. It's going to be hard, but I would love to see him win because I thought it was a great performance. My favorite Timothy Chalamet performance by far at this point for me.
I'm excited.
best female performance. What female did you like the most? I know Norin loves a lot of good horror female performances.
Yeah, the ladies have been knocking out of the park for real. If I was to go just off of gender, I would say the girls are slaying it way more than the boys recently. I could tell you that right now. But
I agree.
yeah, see, Mike, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, man. And for me, I'm going. It was hard. This was probably the hardest category because I could have put like 3 different ladies in here, and I would have been fine with my answer. But I'm gonna go Naomi Scott from Smile 2. And there's one specific like
But
scene.
that's
What's
another
up?
that did well.
Yeah, Smile 2 did really well. Yeah, for them, Paramount, that's a big movie right now. And then I think there's a specific scene that she has a realization of certain stuff that happened before didn't really happen at all, and just from that point on for the rest of the movie, she freaking floors it, dude. Like for real, like it's a total chaotic breakdown of someone mentally, and she is really good at this character. So for me, yeah, her as Sky Riley, I thought was fantastic this year.
That's right. I remember you talking about that on your favorite list.
Yeah, there's a scene where she's in like in a hotel room, and she has like blood on her hand from like blood that's all over her like shirt and everything, and she just starts slapping herself in the face just to try to see if she's like really experiencing what's happening and just like her emotions and stuff. Yeah, she really put on a great performance. But there was a lot of ladies that did very well this year.
Is that a movie I could see?
Yeah, Smile 2. I wouldn't recommend that one. Yeah, that one's pretty creepy. That was on my list too. I would say probably some of the scariest stuff that happened this year. Yeah, Smile 2 has some legit stuff in it.
Because all I see is people smiling in the trailer, so I'm like, what's the big deal? But
it's kind of the use of shadows and camera work. They really get you, like some of the stuff and just the tense scenes and the way that people react. And yeah, there's some gruesome moments too in this one.
Okay. All right, Mike, what's your favorite female performance?
Yeah, so this one for me, again, a bit like Norin, was a kind of a bit of a added choice between 2. But then I had to think about, okay, well, because like, for example, so one of the picks I was originally going to think of was maybe Demi Moore, but then I was thinking, well, she's not fully in the Substance movie. You know, there's times where she's out of that movie and switching. So I was like, well, I want to kind of go for someone who's fully in a full runtime and it focuses on them. So my pick is actually same as Norin. I almost got the Smile 2.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah. I actually recently rewatched this movie for a second time. I didn't really fancy it as such, but Emma hadn't seen the movie, so we sat down and watched it, and she's seen it for the first time. And yeah, like her performance on the second time hit me more on a second view, and just as Norin said, like kind of a mental health study on that character and how she goes through this back injury, how she manages that, and how she wants to fight through it to live a normal life and, you know, kind of get her career back on track after it spirals. Like the whole purpose, I think that was like a great journey. And then, as Norin said, how she reacts in the hotel room, how she reacts with the rehab and the loved ones around her, and how that kind of world she thinks it's starting to open up again for her is slowly crumbling down. And I just think she manages it really well. And she's an actress I think had a really interesting movie career so far. I looked at her filmography being like a Power Ranger and not really doing anything massive as such. And then she does this, and I'm like, wow, this is an actress I want to see more of in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, Naomi Scott for me, stole it in the last minute, really.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. I can't, sorry, she's not on my list, but that's why Joe said he liked Time Cut.
Very predictable, very teeny horror vibe.
Well, I'm glad someone liked it.
So you and your brother aren't on the same page, evidently.
Nah, not at all. But hey, at least someone liked it.
The best male performance, Michael Cera, Death by Scroll. Is this a relative? What is? Or this is you? Wait a minute.
This is me and Ryan.
That's Mike. Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ryan Swales' short film on Not Your Normal Geek. Oh, okay.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Yes, good performance by Mike on that one. That was good.
Thank you. I tried.
You played pretty good as kind of a jerk that doesn't, I don't know, ignores it. I don't know, maybe that's not right. he just ignored everybody in that film. But Josh is here. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Says Naomi Scott was great in Smell too, so he agrees with you guys.
Yeah.
Favorite performance is Mikey Madison and Nora. And
Mikey
Coleman
was great.
And Sing Sing. Yeah, I know you guys talked about Mikey Madison. You liked a lot.
Yeah.
Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. I don't know if that's come out in theaters around here, or if that is. I know that's a big Oscar movie this year, or possibly might get nominated for.
Yeah. I haven't seen Sing Sing, but I know, like, again, here in the UK, it got very limited release, and I think you guys in the States got a very limited release. I think it's on streaming now, though.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see it. And Coleman Domingo's a good actor, so.
He is.
And Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, but yeah, again, Brutalist. I don't know if that's come out here in the United States, or I haven't seen it in the theaters. But I know Adrian Brody won the Golden Globe for Best Drama, so Adrian Brody definitely could win the Oscar, or Timothy Chalamet, I think. Anyways, but my favorite film performance, and I'm curious to Mike if he might think I'm crazy on this, but Zendaya in the Challengers movie, or Zendaya, however you say it. Zendaya.
Okay.
But the Challengers, I thought she gave a really good performance here, and I loved. I wanted to like this movie. There's a lot of stuff I liked about it, but I hated the ending, so I end up not giving it a good review.
Yeah.
And but I thought Zendaya or whatever was actually quite good in the movie, and she's sexy as hell. That's all I can say. It's like, oh my god. There's some scenes where I'm like, ooh, man, I was like, it's a little steamy, you know. I like that part of it too, you know. So I wanted to bring this up because there's a scene where she's like in the hotel room with these two guys, and these two guys, you know, have crushes on her, which no surprise, I have a crush on her too, you know. And she starts making out with both of them on the bed. I don't know if you've seen this, Norin, but
I've seen the scene. I kind of stayed away from the movie because I'm not the biggest fan of Zendaya, but I've heard about the movie and know about it.
Yeah, Mike's seen that, and I thought that scene was so weird. I was like, and I was like, I said this before, and I don't know if Mike heard me say this, but if Emma Stone, let's say we're not married, and Emma Stone's not married, and Emma Stone, we're in a hotel room with Emma Stone, and you know, because me and Mike have hots for Emma Stone, and maybe Norm does, but and Emma Stone wanted to make out with the two of us, like I'd be like, okay, you know, Mike, you can have her. I'll just step out. Like my feeling, I'd be like I would love to make out with Emma Stone, but I'd be like, this is just too weird. Like making out with her with my in the same room. That's just something about it I don't like. Is that just me?
Weird. No, it's a bit weird.
I don't know. I'm more of a Mikey Madsen guy, so I was down for everything she was doing in Nora, so I was there for that. I don't complain about milky white skin.
Mikey Madison, that was very steamy. That was even steamier than Zendaya. Some of those scenes. Mike. Yeah, I don't know her, but I was like, I'd like to see more of her.
She was great in Scream. She was probably my favorite part of Scream 5. Her ghost face reveal is one of the best.
Okay, see, I never heard of her before until Nora.
I would say she's very, very upcoming. I would say.
Josh seems to kind of agree with me. Zendaya and Challengers is incredible. Thank you.
Nice.
Score's unreal. Yeah, Score's doing very well.
I mean, I agree with you, Jason, in terms of. No, like I agree, Jason, with like Zendaya and Challengers. Like I think her performance is really good in that movie. You know, I'm not contesting that, but I just don't like the movie.
Yeah.
Josh says, I wish I was one of the guys.
Jason wishes he was the only guy.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't want to be making out with the girl with Mike in a room. I don't know. It'd just be weird to me. I don't know.
Sometimes competition breeds excellence, Jason.
Anyway, um, we got 2 categories left, and we'll get out. Next is, what was the worst movie? What, and I know we talked about it before, but we'll mention again, I guess, here. I know you guys have mentioned on your channels, but we'll say it again here. What was your worst movie of the year? I don't go.
We'll go real quick with mine because I'll go as quick as I forgot this movie. It's Night Swim. Night Swim is just computer AI kind of trash that Blumhouse just pumped out to make some quick bucks. But oh well, we got it, and it was forgettable. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was like kind of a horror movie, right? It's kind of bad horror.
Yeah, it's a haunted pool movie, but it's just it's not good. We've seen other movies do way better. Dog.
That came out pretty early in the year too. That was like maybe
second week of January, I think. Yeah.
I remember movies I remember seeing a trailer for, and I thought, this looks so terrible. And I haven't seen it today, but I have a feeling it's a bad movie, so probably good pick. And Mike, I know you've said yours, and I know your worst movie is a movie I've never heard of, but you can mention it again.
Yeah, so my worst movie is the only movie I walked out on in the cinema, which
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which I've done maybe 4 or 5 times in maybe my life. This one is Between the Temples. I don't even want to tell you guys what it's about. It's that bad. And now I will say this, right? So I always give really bad remarks with Rob Zombie cinematography because it's like shaky cam galore, and a scene that's where just 2 characters stand still talking and he'll shake the camera around. I don't know how he does it. And this movie is worse than that. You know, I say I'd be sat here, like, see, us guys are just sitting here, you know, just talking, and the camera will be shaking like this, like all over the place. And I'm just like, how do you do that in a movie? You know, like, have you not heard of a tripod at this day and age? You know,
yeah.
I'm going to leave it there before I get frustrated with this one.
Yeah. I do remember that review where you're outside, I think, and you gave the review because you're like walked out of the theater, and so you're giving this movie review outside of the theater. And
I was outside the cinema, freezing cold, but I was like, I need to talk about this trash.
Yeah, it was cold. That's right. I remember it was like cold outside. Yeah. And I remember someone in the comments was like, "Oh, I really like that movie." I was like, and then I looked it up on IMDb because I was like, "What is this? I never heard of this movie." And I looked it up, and it got like pretty good reviews. So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know what to think of it."
Some art housey movie. It's art housey.
Jason, if you get a chance, even if you watch the first 10 minutes and just watch the cinematography, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Your brother says when Mike normally says a movie's bad, it's actually turns out to be a cinematic masterpiece.
He's giving you all kinds of shit.
Getting trolled by your brother.
I mean, good luck to you.
I won't read this one, but you guys can read it. Might get a good laugh out of that. You know my worst movie of the year. I've talked about it so much. Madam Web. What a disaster all the way around. Nobody asked for a Madam Web movie. No one cares about a Madam Web movie. And it didn't do anything, of course. And it killed Sony. I mean, this and Craven killed Sony, Marvel, whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. The Spider-Verse. It killed the Spider-Verse. They're not going to make any more because of these movies did so bad. And again, just across the board, just some of the worst acting, some of the worst editing, some of the worst cinematography. I don't know. It's like everything that's bad. You know, it was bad on every category. That's why I don't understand who made this. It was very amateurish. Like, I don't know. I could come off the street and direct better than this, or make something better. And I said before, I just can't. There's a scene where they do CPR forever. There's like, hey, let me teach you CPR. And they practice on like a pill or something. All right, you do it. All right, now you do it. All right, now you do it. And that's the scene. And it's like, what is going on here? Stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Her teaching these girls CPR in the middle of this superhero movie. It's just beyond me. I'm thinking that should be like a 10-second scene. And it went on for like 5 minutes. And it's like, you should move on. That was me the whole movie. The whole movie, they're in a scene, and I was like, okay, let's move on. we've established the scene. Let's get on with it. That was me. It was just a badly made movie.
It sounds like this year Jason's gonna watch Madam Web watch along to celebrate its first year anniversary release.
Yeah, if you come on and watch it with me.
I mean, I wouldn't say no, I guess.
Okay, now we're going with the best. Last category, what was your favorite movie of the year? We'll end on a good note here.
Nice.
Norin, what was your favorite movie of the year?
And yeah, it's it. Huh?
You might have already mentioned it. I don't know.
yeah, I did kind of talk about it. Yeah, well, everybody knows I'm a horror fan, so it's once in a blue moon. Like, my favorite movie won't be a horror movie and stuff like that. But yeah, Alien Romulus was my favorite movie of the year, just because, like I said, it gave me everything I wanted in terms of theater experience. I watched it multiple times just to see how I felt about it, and it lands every time. And for me, yeah, I clear cut think this is the best one since Aliens, since James Cameron's Aliens. This is the best Alien movie, so it's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, all right.
And he's seen it 4 times as well, so that goes to say a lot.
Yeah, there's not many movies I watch like that. Like, I think my record in 1 year, which, I mean, I thought it was a good movie, but like, I get shit for this all the time because people think I tell them this is better than John Wick. For me, it's better than John Wick, and it was Kate on Netflix with Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Right.
Oh, dude, I watched that movie 6 times in 1 year. I freaking love that movie, dude. But they don't have a physical media of it. You could only buy a bootleg, so it's only on Netflix. So it's like you have to watch it on there, unless I want to buy the bootleg.
Yeah, I hate that about Netflix.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Man, nice. I've never seen Kate though, but that's cool. I don't understand why Netflix don't have like a shop. So if people want to buy a physical copy of their shop, they just produce the copy as and when someone.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
They would make so much money. That would make so much sense, but I don't know.
All right, Mike, I know you're going to go with some anime movie I never heard of. So what's your favorite?
That's right, my friend. That is right. Yeah, so this was a 2023 release in Japan, but in England, we got this literally January 31st, 2024. So I'm classing it as a 2024 movie. I actually own it on physical. It is Blue Giant. This actually came from Korea, this physical release. That's pretty cool. It is region as well, region free. Yeah, this is the one probably no one's really heard of at all.
Yeah.
But basically it's about those 3 guys you can see on the cover right there. Basically 3 people who just want to be the best musicians like in their country, in the world, and they kind of start from the bottom, like they don't know each other. They form this band in hopes of performing at their best jazz club in Tokyo. And I just think it's got a lot of heart, a lot of soul. The music, it was done by like one woman, and the music's really, really great. So I would definitely say if you like anime and you really love jazz music and you love a story where characters are starting from like nothing and then they build themselves up to try be the best, that is the movie for you. And I've seen that twice now.
Nice.
It's just really cool. I've owned it on physical as well like that. I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not checked out Man Web. Seems like a total woke superhero movie. Not heard a single person. Yeah, I've never heard anybody say anything good about it. And that's why I watched it. To be honest, everybody said it was bad, and I was like, I have to see how bad this is. And then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, it's as bad as everybody said. Like there's no lie there. Like, there's no how bad that movie is. It's to me, it's way worse than the Marvels. I thought the Marvels was terrible, and this to me is way worse than that movie. I hate to say this, but all girl superhero movies don't really work that well. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy on that, but Wonder Woman worked. I think that worked. Maybe Black Widow was decent. I don't know, but I think they need to stop making girl superhero movies. That's my opinion. Let's get back to the Avengers and whatever and all that. All right. Best movie for me, and I don't think I just now realized I don't think I said what my favorite drama was of the year. I don't know what happened there. I think you guys said yours, but
I think, yeah, that's when I said mine, and then my internet like jacked up, and then I think we jumped a category. Because I was talking about Anora, and then it jumped out.
Yeah, okay. You said Anora. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And anyways, but my favorite drama is my favorite movie, and that was A Complete Unknown. what was my favorite movie of the year? I saw it in the theater on Christmas Day, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I thought I would like it, but man, I thought this was such a good movie. And like I said, I like Bob Dylan. I don't know if you don't know Bob Dylan, how you would think about the movie, because there's so many great Bob Dylan performances or great Bob Dylan songs being sung. And being someone who knows Bob Dylan, like every time he's singing, I was like, oh, this song is so good. Like, so that's part of my enjoyment is just I thought the songs they sang in the movie were really good. And but Bob Dylan is one of the most, if you don't know Bob Dylan, I mean, he's one of the most influential songwriters of all time, one of the most important songwriters we've had that really changed the game. When he went from folk to folk rock, everybody was like shocked, like no one did that. And that he kind of was able to do that, you know, was pretty groundbreaking at the time. So he was such a groundbreaking artist for what he did. And so he's an artist. He definitely, if you like music, you should check out. I think just because of the importance of what he's done. But again, loved the music, loved Timothy Chalamet's performance. So good, I thought. Really well shot. James Mangold directed the movie. I thought it was a really well shot movie overall. I thought all the performances were overall pretty good as well. Yeah, to me, it's I think the best biopic I've ever seen, and I like a good biopic. Like I like Bohemian Rhapsody. Some people didn't like that. I like Bohemian Rhapsody. I like Walk the Line.
Yeah.
And this is up there. I think is one of the best biopics of one of the most important singer-songwriters we've ever had. Anyway, so yeah, for me that was the best movie of the year.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I have to watch that one still.
Yeah,
it's interesting to hear your take, Jason, because I know you love Bob Dylan, and like when I go see it next week, I'll just very quickly add this in. I'm not a fan of his music, and I don't know anything about him whatsoever. So for me, it's going to be a learning experience. Yeah. I'm hoping it sucks me in that much. I'm like, wow, I want to know more about this guy, you know. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what you say. Yeah, from a non-music fan. From what I've heard from other people that are Bob Dylan fans, everybody seems to really like the movie. So, including me, but so I don't know. I haven't heard too much about people that aren't Bob Dylan fans. So I don't know what people that don't listen to music would think. I'm curious. Like, you'd be like, "Oh, this music's terrible," then you might like the movie. We'll see. But yeah, so that's our Old Millennial Awards. The best in the world. We didn't really did. I mean, you two. I feel like you two agreed more than me. Like, I don't think I agreed with anybody. You had a couple times where you had the same. I think. Unfortunately, I don't watch horror, so I'm like totally out of the horror thing. And you guys,
you're gonna have to watch The Substance if they get nominated at the Oscars. You're gonna have to watch that one.
Scared to watch that movie.
There's a lot of beautiful stuff to look at it, though. There's a lot of nice stuff to look at. Trust me.
But yeah. So thank you so much for coming on again, guys, and Mike and Norin. And
thanks for having me, Jason.
This is so fun to do. You know, talk about kind of put a lid on 2024 with this, and we talked a lot about it on our channels, and it's fun to talk about it. Now we got to move on to 2025, of course.
Yeah.
We'll be back next January 2025. Yeah. The Old Millennial Awards will return.
Hopefully, there's some good stuff this year that we can talk about. And
yeah, I'm hoping there's some good surprises too. You know, there's possibilities. You know, like you said, Fantastic Four. We have a Wolfman movie coming out. You know, there's a lot of good surprises coming out this year.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know anything about horror. I guess what's coming out, but yeah, Superman. Hopefully, it'll be good. I hope Mission Impossible is good. Those are the ones I'm kind of hoping for. Anyways. But we'll see. But anyways, Mike is from Did You See That? As you see in his channel, go check his channel out and watch him if you haven't. He's done his top 10, I think, worst and best, and he's been doing a lot of movie reviews lately. He just did a real pain, which I saw that movie and I hated it. And you liked it more than I hated it, but that was a good review. And then Norin from NorinRad89 is his channel, and he does a lot of great horror content on there, and other movies and other TV shows like
Courage. That's what I just dropped recently. Yeah, my Courage the Cowardly Dog deep dive. I've been covering that. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been covering that, like, which I know nothing about, but and you've done Scooby Doo and whatever, and all that. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything you guys want to talk about on your channel going on, or.
Do you want to plug anything, Mike, before we bounce?
Yeah, I guess I could talk a little very quickly about what I've got coming up. Yeah, I've been doing a series on my channel called PlayStation Trading. So
Yeah.
kind of going back to my teenage years when I'd buy a game, maybe trade it in with like maybe pocket money and stuff like that I would get, and then try and buy a new game. So I kind of wanted to bring that back and kind of more as an adult, because when you're an adult and you're earning money, it's easier to buy games. But I wanted to kind of buy a game, complete it, and trade it in. So yeah, I've got like that's a new series to start. I've got episode 3 coming up very shortly, and another video I've got coming up. This is actually an exclusive, I guess. I've not told anyone this, so here you go. On Netflix at the moment, there's got some documentaries on there called 24 Hours in, might be like a different supermarket. So they've done like Aldi and like Lidl. I know you guys have like Aldi in America. So there's this series 24 Hours in these different ones. So I've been watching them and they're all terrible, right? So I've been working my way through them. I think I've got 2 more left, and then I'm going to do a video being like, I watched these 24-hour documentaries so you don't have to, and I'll go on rant as to why they're so bad, and like, yeah. So that's a video coming up as well, yeah. But what about you, Norin? What have you got coming up?
I'm still like, my main project that I want to focus on is the Forgotten Final Girls project, which I edited an intro for that because I wanted to create a new intro thing. So I have an intro I've been making on my laptop, but then I have lists of different final girls I want to talk about and stuff like that. And then also I have a poll, which I already had the poll. It's already over. I have to check which one won, but I had 3 different horror franchises on there for people to pick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's going to be the next one that I deep dive and review all the films and then rank them.
Yeah, I picked the one that was like the most unusual one. I think it was the middle option. I can't remember what it was. I think
Oh, Demonic Toys. Yeah, there's Demonic Toys, The Exorcist, and Wrong Turn.
Yeah, I picked the Toys one.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I've never heard of that, so I was like, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. 80s and 90s Overlooked, which is a cool channel where they talk about 80s and 90s. I've been watching their channel, and I comment on theirs anyway. So thanks for watching. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, call them the OMAs, Old Millennial Awards.
That's it.
Better than the Oscars, better than the Golden Globes.
Yeah, man, we got to make merch. We got to have merch by next year. So we have merch.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out on the 21st, I'm going to have Ryan Conway from Ravens
Nice.
OS, whatever. I forget the name.
O's fans, Ravens O's fans.
He's coming on to do the 20 questions that I did with Mike and Mike Swells anyways, and I'll have to get Norin on at some point. But yeah, we're doing the 20 questions with him, so we'll get to know a little bit more about Ryan Conway anyway. So definitely check that out. I like doing those 20 questions and getting to know my friends a little bit more. Anyway, so
I'll be watching.
yeah. And besides that, thank you for watching this, and please give your thoughts. Sure. What was your favorite and worst? Whatever you want to comment on this. Did you agree or disagree? Whatever. Love you guys' comments anyways. Besides that, thank you to Mike and Norin for joining me on this. And
Thank you, brother.
Hope everybody is well, with the bad weather and the fires and stuff like that. So hopefully everybody's doing well, and everybody will be safe out there. So besides that, have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.